Very casual. We'll keep it going as a working meeting, which is excellent. Thank you, Iris and Berta, for getting this pizza. Spot on, really hits the spot. Thank you so much. So we're going to start right here at 5. Let's start with our acknowledgement of our land. The town of Diamond Valley acknowledges and pays tribute to the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of Siksika, the Piagani and the Kainai First Nations, the Dene Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, which includes Shiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations, and of course, the Métis Nation of Alberta. So we have the agenda in front of us. We've already read through that, and you're aware of our events this evening. I'll need a motion to accept the agenda.
I would be happy to give you the first motion.
Mayor Kelly.
Chair.
Mayor Kelly gives us the adoption of the agenda. I should have asked as well, were there any additions or amendments that we need to make on the agenda as we move forward? All right, if not, we've got the motion on the floor to accept as presented. All in favor? Excellent, that's carried. And hopefully Ashley is on her way. We don't have any delegations this evening, bylaws and policies, none that we're going to review. Let's move quickly into our CAO and staff reports. One of the things that we have been asking for over the last few weeks and months is just a fee review. And that's really where we want to kick it off. So I'll turn it over to our CAO.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So perhaps we can go through this sequentially since we've got multiple departments. Why don't we start with planning and development? Go through those. We have a bunch of potential recommendations that the committee may wish to consider.
Okay.
And then once we're done those, let's go over to ledge services for those add-ons and then finish up with finance, corporate services, and look at the arena and the pool. And then the next report, we'll talk about franchise fees. Before turning it over to Carrie too, I'll just mention as well, business licensing is coming back as a separate topic. So let's just leave that one on ice for tonight since we'll have a whole other report on that. With that, yeah, Carrie, you want to kick this off, please?
Get that last piece of pizza down real quick.
Oh, I've been off with the flu, so
Sounds like Adam's got it as well, right? So.
Yes, staff.
yeah, you're in a precarious building tonight, I think.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was keeping it.
Yeah, TJ's like, sweet.
It's all my fault, I did it.
Yes, so the first item identified for greater council input is bylaw application fees. So these would be like our land use bylaw amendments for rezoning, adding uses, and statutory plan amendments to our IDP, MDP, ASPs, and ARPs. Municipal development plan, intermunicipal development plan, area structure plan, area redevelopment plans. So we could go a little bit higher. They often take time. They require coming to council, which takes a lot of money in the room. And they often have higher order impacts on the municipality. And so that kind of gravity may lend itself to a higher fee as well. And we can discuss one by one, or I can just go through. What would you prefer?
Council, it's up to you. You want to go one by one, bring forward questions as you see fit? That might be more the better option. So obviously we've got, I want to go back, if I may, Carrie, to the planning fee survey. You did this in 2025, total responses. Question, I have a couple of questions. How many stakeholders was that survey actually distributed to? Because 11 seems pretty good as of May 2025. And then you had the perceived impact on decisions as well as the perception of fee levels. Was that the totality of the survey, or was there more to it? Maybe not quite relevant to the fee schedule?
Thank you for those questions. So the fee survey was distributed to anybody who'd paid a fee up to that point in 2025. Understanding that the fees went up quite a bit in some areas on January 1st, 2025, and were restructured pretty significantly as well as of that date. We had a few applicants that were quite miffed at the increases, and so that was to try and get some feedback. There were 5 questions in total. One was, who do you represent? Another was, have you paid a fee this year? those kind of things. So those weren't as relevant. They were mostly just trying to do checks and balances. If we saw patterns. The reason that I'm bringing up the perceived impact on the decision and the perception of fee levels is because 8 out of 11 indicated that fees were too high, but only 5 out of those 11 said it actually impacted their decision. So I just thought that that was interesting.
Very much. Council, you have any questions on that survey and the impact that how it may or may not influence our discussion tonight? Continue, please.
Fantastic. So revised bylaw applications are a strong candidate for increased fees and enhanced cost recovery, provided that the fee structure is transparent and predictable. And we're looking for feedback from council tonight on should revised bylaw applications, including amendments and resubmissions, be charged at a higher rate to reflect additional staff effort. And so this is particularly with regard, it can be for the initial application, but particularly for the revisions when maybe they feel that things aren't going to be going their way politically and they're like, oh, well, we're just going to change this little thing because then maybe we can get it through. And we find that it's in a lot of cases like going back to the very start where we have to recirculate, we have to reassess, we have to recompare against everything. And so currently our fees are at 25 and 50%, depending on which stage of the application in terms of additional costs. And we were proposing going up to 50 and 75, similar to a development permit that's amended or a subdivision that's amended.
I have a question, but council, do you have any questions on that? Yeah, the question I have, but we kind of batted it back and forth with offsite levies, removing those. This doesn't necessarily impact an offsite levy, but it can do with a development application depending on where it's at, correct? So my question is, because we batted it back and forth, not using offsite levies because we're really not able to apply them across the board like we'd like to as much as possible. Would that increase then somehow allow us to move away from offsite levies? Do we have that in our scope or in our vision?
Any increase to a planning fee is at the discretion of council. It would be recommended that you don't go to a level that could be seen as punitive or unjust. But that would have to be ultimately tested by a developer in the courts. Where we have seen that play out is in appeal fees. So appeal is a statutory right that we don't want to infringe upon. The question would be, at what point is a landowner's right to do whatever they want with their land infringed upon? I mean, we have all sorts of regulations on private land as they exist today. Most municipalities do, and we all accept that as part of living in our society. And with regards to its interplay with offsite levies, any fees that are collected go into general revenue. Any overage at the end of the year, and Lisa's going to correct me when I'm wrong, goes into the reserve.
Unless we direct it to reserve.
Unrestricted surplus. Thank you. And so there is some flexibility there. And it could go to a myriad of different options for the town. The challenge is if we start adding fees like a water connection fee or a sewer management fee or something of that nature that could be construed as an offsite levy, then once that fee has been paid, it's been deemed to have been collected for the rest of eternity. So if we're charging a $1,000, stormwater fee, but then we get some engineering done through the infrastructure master plan that shows us that, oh, well, this area of town is disproportionately affecting our stormwater management, and maybe we do want to impose a higher offsite levy there to collect for a pond upgrade or something. And that same parcel would be assessed at, $10,000. We never have the chance to recoup that difference. Similarly today, if our offsite levies are collected for water, We never have the chance to collect on water ever again.
Challenge, isn't it? Yeah, determining what fee to place where and amount. So just to review, you were saying you're obviously here, your assessment is that we go ahead and increase these fees here with the hopefully getting to a cost recovery stage. What was that number again that you stated? An increase of
So currently, when there are revisions prior to it coming to council, it's 25%, and then
25% of,
of the original cost of the bylaw application.
okay?
So I believe those range from 4,000 to like 8,000 plus the advertising fee. I don't have the bylaw in front of me currently. Verna has the bylaw in front of her currently. Hey, Verna. 4,000 to 8,000. Plus the advertising.
And we want to increase that to potentially,
So we are amongst the highest in the region and the
Yeah.
province for that flat fee. The change comes into that revision. So prior to circulation, if they want a revision, it's 25% of the base fee. And post circulation, but prior to first reading, we're at 50%. And we could go up to 50 and 75, and that would be more in alignment with our subdivision and development, that acknowledging that even if you are changing your proposal prior to circulation, we've already probably done a pre-app, we've done an internal meeting, we've talked about it as a group, we've done some review, we've taken the time to get the process is moving. And I guess the frustration that I'm having right now is every time we do have these fee bumps, people are trying to come in and like, oh, well, I'll just pay for the application and then I'll get you the information. I'll pay for the application and then I'll get you the information. It's like, well, no, because your application's still sitting incomplete. Get me your information. Or they submit it with half the information and then change it because they haven't thought it through. And it's like, well, I wish you had just really thought it through so that I wasn't wasting time on the initial review. So increasing that revised application fee could potentially deter some of that behavior.
but Asa?
No, I agree.
Do you see that it would deter any developers coming in, Carrie?
I think if we leave the base fee and just change the revision amount, so again, up to that 50% of the base fee, if they do a revision prior to circulation, people who know what they want and they come in and clearly ask for that, it will not deter them.
Okay,
I don't suspect.
it would just be a cost of business type thing.
They would come in with their ducks in a row.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's really what you want, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. The responsible applicant model.
Yeah, so leave the base and then
Yeah,
and then change the revision.
That only sounds fair to me.
well, and that deals with the question that admin has presented for us. Should we go ahead and make these revised bylaw applications, including these amendments and resubmissions? Are we going to charge those at a higher rate? That's really the question that's in front of us.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, or Colin?
We don't want to deter the people. We just want to deter the tire haters.
Yeah.
We want people that are going to invest and that are serious about coming in. And then Carrie's point, like come in with your ducks in a row. And then it takes less admin time. We're not wasting time for some project that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
And keep getting it
Yeah.
kicked down the line, right? So, yeah. Ted, I see you nodding there. What are your thoughts?
I could repeat almost exactly what Colin said,
Mm.
and waste everyone's time, but I mean,
No, that's fine. Just want to hear what you're thinking, because this is an important step, because we're concerned about how much time. We've heard from our planning team for about 1.5 years now, about capacity, amount of work that's on their desk. A lot of that is repetitive or repeat work. And if we can tighten the guardrails a little bit on that, I think that's the way to go. So,
And don't we need a bit of a deterrent right now while we got all these projects that are starting and halfway through?
Yeah.
We kind of need to see what that impact on this town is gonna be before we go and allow a whole bunch more people to move here.
very well said. I do have a question that is, not necessarily covered in your planning material here. I'm gonna use the Royal subdivision in Royal that's, on its third or fourth iteration. What mechanism do we have in that stage? Because that's already a development application stage, right? It's not the bylaw amendment, it's not a subdivision amendment. They're looking at a development stage. So do we have something that we can maybe look at as well and maybe put a little bit more, if the whole goal is to control or to at least provide the right avenue for our developers, applicants, to make sure they have their material in hand so that your team isn't overwhelmed by consistently reviewing, making changes. What mechanism do we have when it's at that stage?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So in our current fees that were effective January 1st, 25, we do have 50% of the base fee for an amended application prior to circulation and 75% of the base fee post circulation. So that's that 50-75 I was alluding to earlier. And as of early last year, they have been paying, and I think they paid twice for the changes to the plans. So they are being charged when they come to us with a change
And they're
for
not
that
seeing that as
subdivision
punitive?
application.
Just, they see that as part of doing business?
They're not happy with it. I don't think anybody's happy when you ask them for more money over and over again. But I think they also own the fact that they're the ones coming to the table with the change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in the same breath, it's their changes,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
I mean,
And, I'm pleased that we have that in there. Go ahead, Cindy, I saw your hand.
Yeah, you always have to bring it back to the taxpayer. Is it fair that the residents are paying for a developer to change his mind?
absolutely.
Yeah, very.
Especially the taxpayers that don't want the development.
That's insult injury, eh?
Yeah.
I would like to make a clarification with these revised applications that when it is a request of administration to revise something, either because of an access concern or a servicing concern, that we send that back to them as a change request from us, and there's no charge for
That
that.
makes sense. It's an administrative request, right? So, cool.
Good clarity.
Good. So moving from this, I think we're good with what administration has presented. Adam, is there a specific motion that council at this time directs council to bring these changes forward? That's always a challenge. Okay, we could do that. We can file it for later, like Cindy said.
Yeah, like I think we got 11 recommendations at the end that the committee would push to council, so maybe just do it all one and none of the easiest.
Perfect.
Kind of an all
Yeah.
encompassing motion.
Right on.
It's on page 12, of your package, if you're interested.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, our statutory documents that are new. What are we gonna do with these,
Correct.
guys, team?
So a new statutory plan, such as an area structure plan, currently costs $7,500 plus $100 per hectare plus the $400 advertising fee, unless the advertising costs more. The town is in alignment with Okotoks and Cochrane for this fee, but far below other communities such as Canmore, Strathcona County, or Spruce Grove. And amounts are listed in your report there. Administration considers new statutory planning documents to be strong candidates for enhanced cost recovery. While the town remains regionally competitive at current rates, the gap relative to some other municipalities suggests room for increasing rates towards better cost recovery. Any adjustment should maintain predictability, account for scale through a per hectare component, and clearly communicate that these fees reflect the long-term municipal resource and infrastructure implications with such applications. So the ask for council kind of is, yeah, how high you want to go.
Let's open up the debate here, team. How high do we want to go? Are we good where it's at? Do we want to increase them?
I think we're in a hot spot and we're kind of, in a little bit of control in this area.
Uh-huh.
People want to move here.
Yep.
We are, and if we don't take advantage of it, again, all we're gonna do is deter the non-serious people
Yep.
by jacking up prices, so.
How many new ASPs do we have being created right now? Is there 3?
We currently have an open area structure plan waiting for second reading for Colts Crossing. And we have an application fee paid for the Everwood Diamond Ridge area. And that has been open for over a year now.
And so the the Royal Light, does that fall under the Turner Gateway area structure plan still?
Correct.
Okay, interesting. So there's just two. So it's not that big of a deterrent. Go ahead, Hazel.
Is this section also talking about the demolition? For a demolition permit?
That's a little bit later on.
Oh, that's later on?
Yeah.
Okay, pardon me, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. We're under number 2 here. Just anything on the stat document, ASP predominantly. I know Cindy, this kind of impacted you a little bit with your development. You were under an existing ASP. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, that was a revision. This wasn't new.
Right,
I can't imagine how much time is spent on a new area structure plan. I can't think even. This comes close to what staff puts in,
right.
I'm assuming, so. I do kind of like the idea that they, with the per hectare stuff, that you play with that.
Yeah,
So that something that's bigger gets more fees, but it doesn't. Like it's per hectare, $100 per hectare doesn't seem that would be much, you know?
Yeah, so you can see there that Canmore has a base of about 12,000 plus 18,000 per hectare. Strathcona is 10,000 plus 250 per hectare, and Spruce Grove is 84 plus 260 per hectare. So all of their per hectareage fees are over 2.5 times or more.
So those are bigger cities, those are bigger cities though.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well, and Canmore only has so much room,
yeah.
yeah,
so they can charge whatever they want
Yeah.
per hectare.
yeah.
No, that's same with us. We only have so much room as well.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
I do have a question on that. Using,
Yeah.
let's use the Everwood Diamond Ridge.
Mhm.
How many hectares are there? And that gives us an idea, because I like the per hectare idea, Cindy. I think you were saying something very rational.
I was saying, I was like, we seem substantially lower than everybody else, so if we're changing things, I'm kind of with Colin, like, you kind of get rid of the tire kickers.
Well, and if we find that we are not getting any developers here in the next 3-4 years, can we not just bring it back down?
Yeah. That's the balancing act. I mean, Adam's nodding his head here. That's a balancing act. What have you found in other communities, Adam, when it comes to these fees?
That's a great question. Well, I mean,
I know.
it's high demand right now, right? It kind of comes down to, like Carrie said, it's a philosophy. Do you want cost recovery or do you want subsidization? So the communities that struggle to attract, to have any growth, you obviously want to have low fees, so it subsidizes it, right? But we're now in the opposite spectrum of that, where we have a lot more people coming in, so I would recommend that council increase these, and then you just have serious folks. I mean, from my perspective, the challenge we have is that there's a lot of interest, a lot of talk, but not a lot of doing.
Yeah.
And so if you increase the fees, you know, you get rid of the speculators.
And the vacant land tax.
Yeah.
True. We do both.
Well, that's it, right? You, like, we're really trying to put the planners in the hot seat here to stop land banking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the motivation that we should be looking at here.
Yeah,
Good point. Well, even the 23 or 24 lots we approved for that initial subdivision on Diamond Ridge, they've got 3 of the houses up already.
Yeah.
You know, there's that interest. So, Carrie, do you have any
Mhm.
summary thoughts here? I know I asked about the hectare.
Yeah, so it's 14.15 hectares.
So like, so they're
So-
paying
so-
basically, if my math is correct currently, that's $10,300 in full to get their ASP done. 7,500 plus a 1,400 and change for the hectare plus a $400 advertising fee. And how many homes will be potentially built in that once that ASP is completed? Do we have an idea?
You changed it down to 20. Oh, what did we change the MVP to?
Was it 20 or 22?
Oh, did that infill? No, and that'll be 20
20
hectares,
is what we
20
did.
units per gross development.
So a minimum of 280.
So he's gonna put in 280 houses at an average cost of whatever. And we're only charging them just a touch over 10 grand? Yeah, I think that's it, puts it in perspective for me here too.
yeah.
So that, I will mention again that application fee has been paid.
Yeah. We can't go back, I
What
understand.
would happen is if the fees went up, that again, it would be caught in that any amendment.
Yeah.
That if we put that up higher,
Mhm.
then the 50% potentially of the revised fee would then apply.
Yeah, I'm good with that. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
So do we want to focus on, what are your thoughts? Let's start with Hazel. What are your thoughts as far as as you look at these different numbers here, potentially increasing the initial application fee and increasing the hectare fee. What are your thoughts?
I'm fine with that, but I really don't want to really go above what Okotoks is charging. You know, if we all of a sudden went to the 12,000.
That's
You know-
that's a bit of a jump, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think we have to stay within our area.
Yeah.
What is Okotoks?
We're in
We're in
alignment
alignment
with
with
the
them.
Okotoks contract.
In alignment, yeah.
Exactly, like if you copied it.
I don't recall what it was, but it was real close.
Yeah, because Ted, what are your thoughts here? We need to discuss this, so, you know, I appreciate your perspective there, Hazel. The challenges with a community close to us, that's Okotoks. There's a competitive element that we have to
Yeah.
maintain
And what they offer
Yeah.
compared to what we can offer.
as far as services and amenities.
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
How many more ASPs are we gonna have in?
Yeah,
town
exactly.
before we're
Yeah.
out of land, like, we're only talking like 5 properties that need ASPs,
Exactly.
like, this is. And I mean, you talk to an engineer to do anything, or a planner, and they're paying couple hundred grand to even bring these documents in. So, we're nickel and diming here, it
Mhm.
feels like,
Yeah.
over things.
What are your thoughts, Cindy, as far as the number? Leave as is, increase the hectare?
Oh, I would match Strathcona. 1,000 plus 250.
That's a good idea.
I was thinking the same thing, but kind of back to Hazel's point. That we're not really comparable with based on amenities and stuff from Okotoks, but people are trying to get out of Okotoks because it's become too big. So we're that small place, we're that desirable place to be. So I feel like we do, again, have something good going for us here. And people want to be here, and I don't think they're gonna care if they have to pay for it.
But I guess they also need to be able to make money too.
Ooh,
Built 260 homes.
Yeah.
so does the town.
Yeah, and they're passing, those,
Why
they're
should
passing
the
the
tax
cost.
here on
Yeah.
pay for that?
Go ahead,
Sorry,
sorry.
Terry, I just should say, like, to kind of Cindy's point, like, this is a rounding error, right? When, I don't know what the ASP cost for Colts, but I mean, like, if even going to Strathcona County, you know, so you've added 2,500 base fee, 1,400 hectares, you know, an extra 150 per hectare. I mean, it's just a few hours of a lawyer
Mhm.
that,
No.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Brendan?
I'm at like 20K. I say that jokingly, but I mean, I guess my question, Carrie, is like for an ASP, do we have, because the Diamond Ridge one's quite small. Do we, is there a, how do I explain that, or how do I ask this? Is there a minimum for an ASP, like in terms of how much a developer proposes to develop?
How big of a land?
Those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
good question.
They were identified.
because if a developer's only building 10 homes,
Mhm.
they want to do an ASP, so they do 10 homes. 20 grand would be, that would be a lot of money for 10 homes. But if a developer makes a proposal like Colts Crossing, 20 grand is not any money at all, as Adam just implied. So back to you, is there?
So prior to the new municipal development plan being adopted, there was an amendment to the previous municipal development plan that identified areas that were required to have area structure plans before any further subdivision and development could occur.
Okay.
While that bylaw was rescinded with the previous municipal development plan, administration is still working off of the general direction of council from that. So if somebody was to come in on any of those big greenfield lands, that's the expectation, is that they have an area structure plan. It isn't necessarily codified anywhere at this point. Some areas of our new MDP would allude to it, but it's not as black and white as that map used to be.
Yeah.
Again, any developer that understands anything in the industry, if they have a quarter section of land and I ask for an ASP, they're gonna be like, yeah, okay. That's an expectation.
Yeah, I'm high, truthfully, I'm high, and I would just remove the per hectare.
Well, I think
Let's do a base fee.
I think, so to that point, if we look at the drawbacks, you know, if you want to scroll up there a little bit for us, Iris, there's some really good drawbacks that I think administration has done a great job highlighting for us. Because if we set the fees too high, we're gonna look at piecemeal planning, which we don't want to see.
Mhm.
And as well, if we have the upfront costs disproportionately, to your point, if it's a smaller landowner, then they're paying more than the larger landowner.
Correct.
So for me, to that point, I think it'd be wiser, either we do a tiered system that shows that scale, or we have the hectare, per hectare higher.
Yeah.
So we have a base fee, like that 10 or 12,000, but then we move the hectare fee higher. So that those people like Colts coming in, they're gonna pay the substantive amount because of the hectare, fee, as opposed to what's a smaller one that's,
You're just at 250, you're just over 16 grand per quarter section plus the base fee.
Still.
that's
So
low.
Colts Crossing would be over 32 plus the 10, so 42.
So it'd be a
$42,000.
significant jump if we did this
Yeah.
250.
Like when Brendan said that 20,000 on 10 houses seemed a bit high, I'm like, that's $2,000 a house. That's the same price as putting decorative electrical sockets in the house, like,
It's true.
you know, is the builder gonna advertise at $694 or $696? Like,
Yeah, I was serious when I said 20 grand.
yeah.
I just wanted to stir the pot.
Well, I
Conversation,
I don't see that unreasonable.
Or go to 10 and go per hectare 500. Then,
Well, that's kind of what Canmore's done, right? They're at 12, just over 12 for the application fee, but a massive amount per hectare.
well, then that puts the onus on bigger developments to pay up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Go 10 and
And 5?
pick a number. Yeah.
And worst case.
I don't say
Not
that.
quite
Loose.
as desirable as Canmore.
But there's nowhere else to build in Canmore, so they're coming somewhere at some point.
We
But if we did half,
but you know-
We have it all.
Yeah.
I do want to say this. I don't want to belabor this section because we don't have a lot of ASPs.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have a lot of land to do the ASPs. So
let's create. a
keep that in
motion.
mind. It's not the same as if we're talking about the bylaw amendments. This is potentially 2 ASPs that are on the docket now are needing to come. And then what, maybe 5 more over time? So
Okay.
it's not that big of a deal. Adam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I was just gonna mention too, like, so whatever numbers that the committee tentatively applies, when it comes back in the red line bylaw, you'd still have to vote on it,
Yeah.
so you can
To make it
obviously
clear?
adjust it then
Yeah.
too, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're just sort of looking for the trend line of, okay, we're hearing you want it up, and if you say, okay, yeah, you want to increase it to 10 grand plus 250, that would be the number we would plug in, and then council would decide if so we want to actually go.
I think I would say bring those numbers back, 10 and 5,
I would do 10 and 5.
and then we just, because we still have to debate it around the council table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then we can change it.
Worst case scenario, we deter a few people and Min actually has some time to get caught up.
Yeah.
And then it's not gonna be so hard to do it when we have to lower the price.
Exactly.
Like,
Well, maybe it doesn't deter people and we are a desirable place, then we actually get more money.
Well,
Right.
maybe, you know, you never know what's gonna happen over time. Go ahead, Hazel. Thanks, man.
Are you saying 10,000 plus 500?
For
per
hectare
hectare?
fee. Yeah,
Okay,
That
so
would be
you
my-
would double. Like what you're using for Strathcona County as an example.
And
Yeah.
less than half of Canmore,
Yeah,
because Canmore is almost 12.
12,000.
12,000 for the application, 1778 for hectare.
17, yeah, so it's
That's
a
significant.
quarter.
It's just over.
Okay, thank you.
So always, you know, as when this comes back to council, I would remind, you know, this, it'd be great if we reviewed this first. Just to remember what the drawbacks are, what the challenges are.
Yeah.
Because that's something we have to keep in mind as counselors that, you know, it sounds great on paper, sounds good initially. But always remember what's the strategic long-term impact, and if it makes sense, we move forward. If not, we adjust.
Yep.
Right on. Excellent. Good chat here, team. Pre-application meetings. This is something I think, I know I've talked with a couple of developers
Here,
myself
here,
recently. You know, and I'd really like the initial consultation, and I would love to see in charge, to be honest. You know, I think that'll help us to even get you to that place, Carrie, where they're not bringing garbage applications. You're fully aware of what they want to do, and you can give them a heads up there. I love that initial conversation charge. That's my perspective on it, but Carrie, fill us in with your material here, please.
Yeah, so pre-application meetings were a topic that was brought up at the workshop to come back for discussion on fees. There are a few municipalities who charge for right up front. There's a few that charge just when something's provided in writing, some that charge when different disciplines are brought in. So if I bring Matt or TJ or who Craig in on the conversation and be like, hey, does this make sense? Then the fee is charged. A challenge that I think we would face here is we do have a lot of just general inquiries. We have a lot of less seasoned developers in town that are trying to figure out what they can do to make their performa work. And if we were to start charging them up front, I think that that would be seen as extremely punitive in our market. And I'm concerned about the level of additional effort it would actually create downstream. I think that often our staff does a really good job of identifying some major headaches up front and being like, Sir Royal Oak, like, hey, there's a water main that literally goes diagonally through this land. Until you tell me what you're doing with this water main, please don't come back. And they
Do you
didn't.
charge for that conversation?
We do not currently.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of conversation I wouldn't mind seeing charged.
Yeah.
It's the same as me going into the lawyer.
Yeah.
You know, that initial thing, this is my problems, this is where I'm at. What's the next step? And I've heard from developers that they like that approach, so I don't know why we wouldn't want to charge for that.
Or it's like first meeting free, and then you're paying for
And then
every
you're paying,
other
yeah.
visit after that too.
And that's what is
We could do that.
currently in our fee structure.
Because
The
that's the
first
fee
meeting is
structure.
free.
First meeting, okay, I thought I heard that somewhere, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Whereas I'm supportive of charging. Go ahead, Hazel.
Is that, like you have a flat fee of say, like the pre-application meeting, it's like $200. Is that like on an hour? Because I'm sure you can get some very long-winded people and they can sit there with you for the entire day.
I think you made the example like Farmer Joe comes in with his coffee and then you're stuck in there for an hour and you guys
Yeah.
haven't even talked about your application.
Because
Get
like
caught up.
what Jonathan's saying, like with a lawyer, it's typically first 30 minutes
Well-
is free and then the clock takes up.
Well, that's what I want to control. If I have to pay the CHOG on an initial consideration, I'm really not talking about the weather.
And I wouldn't say that we have quite that level of unprofessionalism in our meetings. We do have people that come to the table with ideas. They come to the table, they want to do something. Sometimes they have 4 ideas and they're like, you know, what would be a barrier to doing option A, B, C, D? And sometimes it's all the same barriers. Sometimes we're like, C is just a non-starter. And again, I think that those conversations are really useful for us to kind of see where the developer is at and for the developer to understand what they should invest more time into refining so that when we do have an actual application come in or we have that second meeting where we have to charge them, that at least they're coming with an agenda, with prepared material, with an idea of what is going to be acceptable, and then it can be much more productive from that point forward.
So I don't know how many times, like, let's use where we just did the road closure. What was that process for that landowner to first come to us?
So that's actually a really bad example because we proposed that.
Well, you did, but the landowner wanted that land, right? Or did we propose the land?
We
to the
proposed
landowner?
that.
Oh, we did, eh?
Yes.
Okay. That's a
So.
terrible example then. That's a terrible example.
You should
Sorry.
talk to us about this. We're gonna charge.
So the Lions Club property, I think most people are familiar with
Yeah.
where the Lions Club
Yeah.
property is and that they're proposing a new clubhouse facility, an apartment and some multi-unit buildings in there. And so what happens there is that applicant comes to us and they say, hey, I have an idea. I want to do some housing on the property. We need a clubhouse. I know we're gonna have to have some sort of density to make the servicing pay for itself. But like, we're not planners, we're not engineers. Can you help us so that when we do talk to an architect, our planners, our engineers, that we can like kind of give them what they need? And we go, yeah, well, here's our planning library on our website. Your architects, engineers, and planners will want to see this. And in terms of what you can and cannot do, here's your district, here's your list of uses that you can and cannot do. We get this a lot for people who buy commercial buildings, like, oh, I bought this building, what who can I rent it to? Which just never ceases to amaze me, because wouldn't you have done that before you bought the building?
Yeah.
But these are the kind of conversations, so they're usually done in good faith. The people come to us in earnest, wanting to do the right thing, and it's a pretty quick answer. Usually it's like, here's the 7 pages of the bylaw that I'm going to photocopy and send you off with. Read it, come up with a plan, come up with an application, and when you're ready, apply.
Yeah, because I find great value in that. So any other thoughts on that before we look at the assessment here? What administration is suggesting here, a hybrid approach whereby we maintain that free or low cost introductory meeting and then charge fees for those that are more advanced. So obviously it would be scaled in some way, shape or form. Ted, you're nodding, that makes sense?
Yeah, and also, I agree with the point that charge for the initial meeting, however, when an application is submitted, credit some or all of that, of what we charged for the first meeting.
So once they submit the
Once they
application,
submit the application.
it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Because then it also reduces the tire kickers, right?
Yeah.
And really staff is being, their time is being honored. That's a great idea.
How does that look from a Lisa point of view, tracking that?
That's a great question.
That's more important to me than kicking.
Because that's also time too.
That's what I mean. So you're, yeah. You gotta track that. I know, Excel spreadsheet, easily done, but at the end of the
That's
day,
exactly what we've been doing.
you get 50 plus, or, I don't know, you get a bunch of applications rolling at the same time and all of a sudden it becomes a mess. So
I hadn't thought of that.
Well, I think that say the fee is $250 and you get $200 back. If you get the thing done, because the $50 helps recover some of the cost of that Excel spreadsheet.
yeah,
So Lisa,
as long as it's something that Lisa can do.
what do you think, Lisa? What kind, like, how does that work?
I mean, it's absolutely doable for sure. How many are we talking here? You think, like,
So we've already done that. Okay, so we're gonna decide. We've already done this. What we did was we knew that they were coming in for a DP.
Yeah.
And so the $200, we just charged to the GL for a DP fee. And then when they came in for their actual permit, we gave the fee quote to the front desk for the fee minus the $200.
Most of it kind of do.
And then we have a few cash receipts
Yes.
in the file.
It
that
actually
shows.
isn't that much work. It's just a matter of
Make the transition.
planning, putting the correct GL. So I don't really see that being a deterrent.
Just wanted to check.
Feel good.
I don't know if I like refunding it and charging it, because what happens is they're like, well, it's cheaper to talk to you guys than it is to talk to my planner, so I'm gonna use you guys' ideas, because it's gonna go against my DP fees anyways. So
Yeah, so that's big.
that's
We should
my
make it
thought.
a non-refundable,
Yeah.
small fee.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's good. It's not gonna take less than an hour to do this. So what is our hour cost for an employee? $150 should cover an hour. That's the fee, and you don't get it back. It's $150. Because it's gonna use up an hour of admin's time.
Cause most of the time they're looking up stuff that they could have figured out on their own.
Yeah.
If they read the planning library.
I would consult out for $210 an hour.
What's that?
I would consult out for $210 an hour.
Then do it.
Okay.
So why?
Just saying.
If I'm building a house or whatever I'm building, $150, $200 for some legal advice or some professional advice to get me started, it's so worth it.
Yeah, but make sure, like, yeah, I understand from planning, trying to keep it open and, you do a freebie, if you will, to ease the process, but I guess I kind of look at this with like the city's point exactly, like we have so many folks for different departments just trying to use our expertise for free, right? Like,
Yeah.
like this side note, right? We on occasion get people calling and saying, oh, can you forward us to the doctor's office? It's like, well, and staff do, but it's sort of like lots of if much, isn't it? So it's sort of the same thing where it's,
Sure.
yeah, to talk to Carrie or to talk to a planner, no problem. We're happy to talk to you. We'll schedule you for 60 minutes and it's $150 in advance. And then they're gonna be serious. And then if it's someone that is, should I build that shed or not? I mean, that might tip them over to where, yes, I will, or No, I'm really not serious about it. So that's where I guess I would differ a bit when I look at the bigger picture. So I want to incentivize seriousness and accountability.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it also brings a level of professionalism to our town,
Mhm.
where this is, this is how we're doing things. We're focusing on cost recovery in so many different areas. Why wouldn't we include it
Yeah.
here? Have a consultation meeting, you charge it at your consultative rate, and it's non-refundable. It's just part of the process.
Our time is worth something.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, we,
Yeah.
like we're doing per diems tonight. There's a reason for that. And I think our administration should have that opportunity when they have these, well, when they have these charges, when they have these sessions brought forth in these meetings, there should be a fee involved in that.
I think what you're saying, Jonathan, is any other professional charges.
100% they do.
So where would it be different?
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
And I think Cindy really tipped it for me by, the reality is they rely on our expertise where they know it's a little bit less expensive than their planning team. So, go ahead, Carrie.
So I'll bring back an approach that includes some of those meeting fees or advanced or written fees. Do you want there to be a differentiation between like the scale of development? So we often see there's a difference in scale between like a shed versus a house versus a fourplex versus a 20-unit apartment
100%.
versus a multi-tenant
And
commercial
having
building.
staff have to be in the meeting.
Yeah.
If you can do that scale, that would be awesome. I mean, if somebody's only gonna put in a $30,000 garage, that should be something different than a $500,000 house, right? So,
Well, $2,000 shed.
or a $2,000 shed, and they'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
Without-
well, I don't know.
Well, that's my problem with the 150, because if they're like, oh, I charge you 150 to talk about a shed, I'm just gonna build the shed and
Yeah.
deal with it when I
So
sell.
the
the
first
house.
meeting,
scale
you
it.
shouldn't need 2 meetings for a shed.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, but,
You have problems.
yeah,
That's
well,
great.
Well, we could put it that it's acceptable to a fee, so if it is something that someone comes in for a 10-minute chat, they're out the door. Carrie says, you know what, we're not gonna charge the fee, or that guy comes in, drinks a coffee for an hour, and then gets to the point, well, then that guy's gonna pay. It
I
doesn't.
think they gotta charge up front.
Yeah,
They gotta charge before they sit down.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, with
Yeah.
offices.
I think we've given Harry good direction about the scale and how to, look at that and potentially get it moved forward. All right.
okay. Rob?
Subdivision applications, we got quite a few of these, so this should be another good conversation here, team. It's number 4.
We are drowning in subdivision applications. However, our fees are generally aligned with regional and provincial levels. So from where I sit, I don't really see a recommendation for an increase.
Okay.
However, council direction is required for the desired level of subsidy versus cost recovery. Again, just because we're in alignment, that may be good, that may be bad. We are definitely not recovering the time and effort we spend on subdivision. Part of,
Balance, isn't it?
yes.
Council, what do you think about this? I mean, obviously, a great assessment here where our fees are right in line with both provincial and regional. Kind of difficult to move it. If that's what developers are accustomed to, why would we really change it, right?
I would vote for a small increase.
And that's a challenge, right, Colin? Because we're understanding that our staff, the cost recovery is not there, it's being subsidized.
Yeah.
So what is that fee right now? I can scroll down in my notes, I suppose, but what's our subdivision application fee
Our subdivision application fee is currently 2,500 plus 250 per parcel,
per parcel?
plus 250 per parcel. So there's the flat plus the per parcel.
Right?
You'll hear me recommend increase on a lot of this stuff, because as a taxpayer, my taxes keep going up when I'm not using these services. We talked about
That's
it
a good
before,
point.
like,
Yeah.
a lot of taxpayers are paying for a lot of things that they're not using, so people are using these services that the taxpayers are currently paying for. We need to offset those costs. Not necessarily making a profit off of people, but at least cost recovery. Try to get there.
So I'll go back to Royal. Because that was a subdivision application, correct? After they did the rezoning, or was it a development application?
The large lots that were approved right before I got here, those ones?
No, at the end of Royal, that were.
Oh, Royal Oak, sorry, yes.
So was that just did we did a redesignation?
Yeah.
Correct, it's that subdivision,
And so that's the subdivision?
yes.
So they paid their offsite levies, they would have paid the subdivision fee, and we're now into the third iteration, so they paid the penalty or the, you know, the change fees, I guess. I don't know, I'm hearing what you're saying, Colin, because if it's only $250 per parcel, that's maybe where we can, similar to what we've done on the hectare for ASPs, would you want to see an increase there?
I just want to see small, like, increases in general, like everything's going up, labor goes up.
Yeah.
Cost of gas is gone, everything else has gone up, so why can't we go up too? Because what we just did was raise the taxes to cover these costs, so we should be looking at ways to supplement.
So a 43 lot subdivision would be a $13,250 application fee and then $4,800 that endorsement.
With the fees that we already have.
So just under 20 grand for
Mhm.
for that on the end of Royal.
Yeah, $18,050.
Okay, Chair, like, just in high level karaoke for 20 grand, like how much in staff
Exactly.
cost would that be at, say, billing 150 an hour, or even 100 an hour, if that makes it easier for math? Just very broad.
For that one.
Yeah. Well, it might be a bad example, but it gives us a bit of a line of sight.
Yeah, so that one has some complexity to it, right? We have a creek, so we have ER, we have outstanding MR, we have some landscape and pathway connections that we had to consider. There was a water main that needed to be realigned, and so some engineering into that the developer does absorb the cost. We send them the invoice from MPE. There's emergency access, there's your just general engineering for roadways, sidewalks, water, sanitary, sewer, your grading plans, your lot plans. That one had a lot of interdisciplinary work with fire, civic ops, and engineering to make sure that all those components came together. So if they came in and everything was awesome and we had to do it once and that's the fees we got, because I'm gonna assume that all of the reiterations and the fees that we charged them covered that. Half to 2/3 is probably, maybe half is what we're recovering in terms of staff.
So it's
time.
being subsidized at 50%,
Yeah.
and the developer is really pocketing the massive profit.
So if I may, Chair, so just to kind of give that context, because later in the meeting, we're talking pool and arena. So
Yeah.
the pool is about a 50%
I saw that.
cost recovery, but some would say that pool might be considered a public good.
Yeah.
Impure as it is. So that's sort of the context that might speak to more what Colin's saying too.
It's a good question. Brendan's giving me a hand signal. He thinks we should jack this up as well. So an easier subdivision will probably have been the Diamond Ridge, those 24 houses.
But you can say 75.
Well, I know,
Again, context matters, so that involved a temporary stormwater pond,
yeah, there's even more involved, right?
which was a huge headache.
Yeah, but see, I think that's relative to the conversation. There's so many different variables involved. That, and in our community, I think we have quite a few different variables because of the nature of our community. I have to agree with Colin and Brendan that we should see an increase here. I don't know what that number looks like. Obviously, you would bring that back to us and
Yeah.
we would debate it and how we scale it. I always like that,
Let's look at 25%.
I like the per parcel amount too, right?
Yeah.
The per parcel amount more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave the
Go up
base.
to 5%.
For somebody just subdividing their lot in two, actually.
Yeah, we're just talking about that,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, bring that up, that's a great point.
If you just subdivide your lot in two,
That's a
that
subdivision.
$2,500
Yeah.
fee is a big fee already
Yeah.
for something small, so I would rather hit it on the per lot.
First collaborative. Yeah, that's right. That's what we were talking about. I was like, it's the same fee if you're just doing one tiny lot or if you're doing 30, like.
That's brilliant. I
That's
think
what I'm
increasing it per
thinking.
parcel
Yeah.
significantly. That's a great point.
But not to the point that we discourage.
Yeah.
people.
And is there a way to go on a scale for that, like as well, if there's more parcels? Or because if it's just your neighbor, you're getting another lot just in a smaller neighborhood versus, again, the 30 parcels, do we look at a scale or do you?
Yeah, we
Just the
certainly
parcel.
could. I mean, I think that's what Gary's been kind of getting at, where it's like, you know, the mom and pop, we don't want to penalize them. We
No.
want
Yeah,
that to be
that's
smooth,
my
right?
thought.
Where if you have a subdivision with 40 lots like we're talking about, maybe it is tiered above. As soon as you get a street size or something.
Yeah, so if I may, a boundary adjustment where there's no new parcels created, you're just moving the line. That's currently a flat fee of 2,000.
Okay.
Often we want to recoup more, even if it is, you know, Patty has a large lot, wants to subdivide it into two, get some extra money before they retire. Cool. I need a development agreement because I now need you probably to, my brain just went dead. Abandon, there we go, abandon your current services and install two new because your current service is likely down the lot line or down the center of the lot. And now that you're creating two new lots, we need two new services for those. And you are now touching our infrastructure and darn straight I'm getting the development agreement and the administration of those kind of documents. And again, the back and forth of the review with getting the engineering, getting the grading. That stuff takes the time and the effort. So, well, again, its face value, it might seem very simple. We do a lot of due diligence to protect the town.
Yeah, thanks for that, Karen.
Go ahead.
If I
Just jump in.
Well, you know, when you talk about $2,500 being too much for a subdivision for a house, here's the thing. You bought the house with the property for 300,000. Now that house is worth 600,000. Now you want to subdivide over here and you're afraid to charge the person $2,500. They're the ones making the money based on taxpayers paying for the admin stuff. So I don't think that there's necessarily a need to give people a break for subdividing. So if you're subdividing, you either bought that property with the intent of the investment, or you're on the old side and you just want to collect some of the money over the side.
So you're kind of more.
Yeah,
on
the 2,500, yeah, I don't have a problem with the 2,500. I want to increase the per lot amount more so than the 2,500
Yeah.
amount is all.
Okay.
We're fine with
Scale it.
2,500,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
Wait,
more or less
scale
the same
it
as,
is.
we don't need to really protect people just because they're subdividing a local resident, right? Because you either bought it recently with the intent to make some money, or you're on your retirement and looking for a little extra cash. Again, all that cost that comes from the taxpayers, why do I have to throw in the pot so that Janice down the road can make some money?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think we've given great direction here for a scaled model, what that looks like, increasing the lot size or the parcel amount.
yeah.
I like the scaling, you know, up to a certain amount of lots. This is your application fee. Beyond this, this is your application fee. And then the lot parcel size or parcel amount going up as well. All right, so that's number 4, our subdivision. Let's move on to number 5, other fee adjustments that require less input, but we still need to be aware of where these might be. Take it away, Karen.
Correct. So when we come back with the red line, we're gonna have some slight structural changes. Just trying to make it a little bit easier on us and applicants so that they can understand. You'll see those, you can discuss them at the time. They're gonna be fairly minor in nature. I go to 6.
Are these slight increases that you're recommending?
There's some slight increases. There's some just tweaking of structure here and there that better align with what we're seeing across the province. And I think that it will be easier to administer, better for developers to understand the structure and better for us to apply the structure.
Okay,
Demolition permits, we do propose to increase demolition fees somewhere in the range of 50 to 100%. They are hugely under recovering costs. And given the coordination with utilities, safety authorities, the environmental considerations, internal department collaboration, the current fees do not adequately reflect anywhere near the staff time or risk management involved with demolitions.
Cool. Hazel, go ahead. You had a point on demolition.
How many demolition permits would you issue in a year?
Oh, Shelley had that in our stats and I don't have it memorized, sorry.
Myself, I would suggest going, doubling the fees. Because I think, any demolition permit we get is gonna benefit the town, taxes and beautification.
But I did have one of the residents that had the demolition as part of their subdivision of their lot. He provided a question, I couldn't answer it, and he wasn't too concerned because it's done. But he, after the fact, had wondered why the process for that, the demolition permit was as soon in the process as possible. Can you speak to that at all? And it's the one on Sunset.
So demolitions are when there is a subdivision proposed. It is a requirement under the matters related to subdivision and development regulation that the tentative plan identify any existing structures and whether they are proposed to remain or be demolished. In this instance, I believe, I don't recall if the subdivision line went through the building. In the instance where it does, we definitely want the building removed.
Yeah.
But in this case, I believe it was a derelict building that was going to be removed anyway. So as a condition of the subdivision permit, we wanted to ensure that we weren't creating any non-conforming buildings that would then have to be dealt with later in the process. It was already established on the tentative plan that the building was proposed to be removed, and so that was a condition of the subdivision.
Cool. Thanks for it.
But they would have had that notice of decision immediately,
Right.
and it's just a matter of them reading it.
Yeah. Perfect. Number 7, any other questions on demolition?
No,
We're good?
for sure.
Like that 50 to 100% increase, so doubling it, 100% increase, there you go, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy that everything's going on.
Variances,
Tax dollars have to go up in order.
variances and discretionary use applications, we're proposing an increase for fees of variances and discretionary uses by 10 to 50%. They require additional analysis, professional judgment, and occasionally public engagement. And determining the appropriate use and form goes beyond routine compliance review. Again, these are the ones that often come to multidisciplinary meetings for discussion on what is appropriate, what might need to be tweaked, how does it conform to higher order statutory plans, best planning practices, et cetera. And then having to craft the appropriate conditions to meet those planning or engineering considerations is also a bit of an art. So yeah, administration is proposing higher fees that are justified and defensible based off of staff effort and decision-making complexity. So we will bring those back in a red line for discussions.
Cool.
Council.
Cindy, you had a question?
Well, no, just more so support, because I'm hoping with our new land use bylaw that we don't use as much variance and discretionary, that it's more just here it is. But until we get that, you can do that by tweaking fees and making it not worth coming in for, so
Cool.
I totally support every.
So I do have a question. I know we're coming up to the last one here, film production, which we haven't had yet. And, no harm, no foul if you haven't done this, but what if we had these fees in place for 2025 with all the increases we're discussing today? What would be the revenue difference? Have you ever calculated that?
No, because we don't know where you're gonna land.
Right.
It'd be very presumptuous. of
Yeah.
me.
The other piece too, Chair, for especially the new council members, like we rapidly increased fees in
We have.
25 too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, we took,
I think our certificate of
Yeah.
compliance tripled. We had a local surveyor who actually was the one that kind of was the encouraging voice behind us doing the survey.
Yeah.
To show, he really wanted to prove that he wasn't the only one that was ticked off. I mean, he's still angry about it, but he's still paying the fees, so
so I
for what
think
that's worth.
so if we compared really from, 24 to say what we get to here when we're done this 26, 27, I mean, some of these fees will be triple % increases.
Yeah. It's pretty significant.
Mhm.
And it's not slowing down requests, certainly not, so.
Well, and it was long overdue. I mean, you guys, Turner Valley barely had a planning department and Black Diamond had.
Plus to go watch
Yeah,
the hockey
part-time
game, it's
planner.
sold out every time.
Yeah, we had a part-time planner, so I mean, this wasn't on our radar. You
It
know,
wasn't,
not even close to amalgamation. We were dealing with those JTAC meetings, so. This is long overdue.
and I would say from a council's perspective, when it comes to communication, we're looking at cost recovery
Mhm.
and not subsidizing elements that aren't necessarily for the benefit of the whole community.
Well, and I think on that note is that we're not targeting residents.
So,
We're targeting developers
Yeah.
as best we can, right? This is, I don't know any of the developers that, I mean, outside of Woodmasters, who isn't really developing that much anymore. A lot of the developers that we've seen in town and that we've had conversations with, they don't live here. So, I mean, to call out every point that we've had, Colin said, we're subsidizing developers, right? So,
People are
that
making
needs to
what's
stop.
our subsidy.
yeah.
We're not really charging the developers, they just pass it on.
they pass
That's our
it.
tax bills that are,
Yep,
that we're charging more for.
Well
absolutely.
said.
Yeah.
And, you know, the house prices aren't going down right now either.
No.
You know, not in our community anyway.
And if developers are charging more because we're charging them more, then all of us that have a house already, our houses are gonna go up with it. So it's a win-win for our
For everybody.
taxpayers.
It is.
basically.
Yeah. As challenging as having higher assessments. it's
That's-
a win.
Yeah.
People don't understand it, but it's, you know, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, last but not least, from our planning team, Carrie, once again, thanks for doing all this work for us. You really made the conversation flow well. Film production fees, we're seeing an increase of this hopefully, right? So,
Yeah, so we don't currently have film production fees. We've seen that it's getting more and more common in other municipalities. Minik would have been able to speak to this much better than I would because I believe she handled some of those inquiries.
Yeah.
I know that we've had more than two. Those are the ones I'm aware of. And so
you might be more aware with, and.
Had a few, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just think that having a more transparent way to actually be able to charge for films or productions that want to come in and have it be just more transparent and easier for us to administer, easier for them to understand the expectation.
Yeah. You know, because Foothills County just had this back and forth with them about what they wanted to do, a little bit more tighter controls. We're not looking to add a regulation here, just a simple fee, correct? For awareness, or what are we looking to
At
do?
this point, the proposal, I just recognized that there was no fees in there when I was
Yeah.
going through other stuff. I don't think any of us are necessarily putting our hands up to write a policy or a
Yeah.
bylaw for that. But a fee that at least that they're aware that, hey, if you're closing a road, like, yes, we have a road use permit, there's a fee associated with that. There might be other fees that Matt and I discussed that are appropriate to go in there. We'll look at some comparative fee schedules and we'll come up with a proposal.
Yeah, because for me, it would make sense to have this, so long as it's attached to a public element
Mhm.
rather than private property. I know that's where there's some challenges in other municipalities where they're trying to get into, hey, you're doing that on your private property, but it's affecting this over here. We're not aware of it, so we're gonna charge you for that when it didn't really have anything to do with the public element over here. So that's the challenge. Just my thoughts.
Well, sorry, and if I may, to that point, that brings up kind of back to the whole special events thing, right? That at this point in time, if you have a permit for, let's say, a brewery and distillery, is filming a HBO special at your brewery and distillery necessarily an incidental and subordinate use normally associated with that? I'd argue probably not. And so you'd have to actually come for a development permit, and I don't know if we have a great way to even handle that on like
Right.
private titled lots at this point in
Yeah,
time.
It'd be challenging. Last thing.
Another can of worms, thank you.
Because, you know, off the top of my head, I would see such an element would be best suited in the land use bylaw. Under special events or special, whatever we want to call it, have a couple of stipulations there. You know, if, a great illustration, let's say there was one of our local distilleries had a major event happening where they're doing all that filming, you're gonna have probably limited access to an alleyway, maybe extra people coming in, you're gonna have issues with public access, so on and so forth. I would see that fit under land use, so special events, just something else to consider. So, right on, thanks for bringing it up. I think we're satisfied with bringing a film production fee forward.
Okay.
Gary, thank you so much. Excellent. Over to Verna.
Mine are a little simpler. Most of the requests here are consolidation of existing fees that we want to bring into this bylaw and then remove from other bylaws. We'd like to create a subsection under the admin for the alleged services fees that are very specific to our department. So we would bring the ADIA request fees down from the main admin section. And then we already have commissioner for oaths fees, which we launched just this year. And we've discovered with all of the provincial petitions going on that people are coming in and asking to have those commissioned. And we have had a number of those come in, and we don't feel we should be charging for that. It needs to be done, and it's a democratic process. So we're asking to exempt those petitions under that fee schedule. So it doesn't matter where they live or how many signatures are required, we will do those for them. The appeal fees are currently within the two tribunals' separate establishing bylaws, the SDAB and the ARB. Assessment Review Board. I haven't said that one yet. The SDAB fees are currently within the SDAB establishing bylaw. We'd also like to remove, under Carrie's planning, there was a stop order fee in there. We'd like to pull them all over so it's consolidated in one space. The fee is correct. We'll just move it. Currently, the appeal fees for SDAB hearings is set at $250, which is kind of a mid-range fee across the province. There is a strong need to make sure that we are leaving these fees at a what's the word I want?
Reasonable.
Accessible, thank you. The accessible rates that need to be available to anyone to make an appeal. It is their legislative right to have an appeal, and it shouldn't be removed by a fee. That would be a barrier, and that has been already tested and lost in court or by the sorry, not in court, the Alberta Ombudsman's office. That municipality put their fees up to $2,000, and they now sit back at $250 and have been there for a few years. So we are kind of in the middle. There is a little room if council does want to direct an increase there. I cannot recommend you go above $375, which is the fee charged in Okotoks. So that they're our managing partner of our agreement. So both regionally and as part of that agreement, it would be acceptable to go that high. I'm not sure if council feels that that would be prohibitive.
So, question on that, because we just had a hearing. What were the costs that you absorbed on behalf of that? I'm sure 375 doesn't even come close.
It did not. So we are required to advertise in writing. So we have, and we must do it by mail. During a Canada Post strike, I think probably a newspaper advertisement is fine. The timeline is excessively tight to actually get mailed advertising out. So we just advertise as well as mail. So you've got an ad, which I haven't got the bill for yet. I would suggest that if you got away with a $300 ad, you'd probably be ballparking a small ad.
Yeah, most of our planning ads are $400.
Yeah, and these are very similar in nature, so probably 4 would be a better estimate. We have to pay the board of 3 to attend, and sorry, 6. Yeah, these ones came in at about $650.
Wow.
for the group. We have to, the chair has a slightly higher fee, and this time I wasn't able to get any of our local members, so we also had to pay mileage for them to come out from Okotoks. The and then there's of course the unnumbered staff time, so there were 4 of us in that hearing.
Well, plus all the background work. Go ahead.
Yes.
Frank.
Just leave it at 250.
Leave it at 250.
It's not gonna
Keep
make
it
a difference.
accessible.
That's what I was just gonna say, I was
No.
like, it's.
No.
the-
Doesn't make any sense. Just
Yeah.
leave it at 250, make sure, yeah, we don't want it to be unreasonable.
Would there be,
It's a point 350.
Yeah, cause it.
the 375 would be in line with what Okotoks meant, part of our regional team?
Yeah,
Would they, have they encouraged a balance there, or would that be totally on us?
Oh, they have not.
Okay.
They have not.
So leave it at 250, team? What do you think?
I say 375 to align with Okotoks.
You don't mind that?
And just simply because when somebody comes in, they're making their application. And if they're looking at the Okotoks cost, they're gonna think that our cost will be the same.
Like, Colin?
Well, if I was hearing Vernon's numbers right, that sounds close to $1,000 that
Minimum,
it costs
Yeah.
us.
without staff time.
375 isn't even 50% cost recovery. I think 375 is. Someone else is doing it, why not?
Well, bring it back to us and we'll discuss around the council table, I guess is my best advice here. Yeah. Cause I see benefits of both. 250, make sure it's accessible. Same time regional, they're up to 375. I mean, hard numbers, well beyond 1,000, so.
Well beyond. So we'll be bringing back the SDAB bylaw to have a look at that. Thank you. Especially if we have to remove the fee. We'll need to do that sooner rather than later. Currently, the bylaw has provision to refund the fee to a successful appellant. But the level of the success is hard to determine because if you have someone appealing conditions, but the decision is upheld, but one of the conditions is released or altered, who won? And so it's a question as a clerk I've always left to the board. If you end up in there, I've always left it to the board to make it part of their decision whether or not to return the fee. But because of the high cost of holding these, and people have paid the fee upfront, and are often not aware of that provision, it just makes more sense to me to remove it.
I would agree.
So if council's okay, when I do bring back the establishing bylaw amendment, that piece will be gone as well as the fees.
Remove the refund. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
It's kind of-
yeah, there you go.
So for the interest of simplicity, we'd also like to add the ARB fees into this bylaw, just so that all of the fees are there. These fees are legislated by the matters relating to assessments complaint regulation. We can't change them. You can lower them. But that one's a $50 fee, so I really can't recommend that. It's a much, if not more work than in SDAB. It can take a much longer period of time. Whenever they get launched, they have until December 31st to be completed. So it can take a lot more time to get them done. This bylaw does have to come back as part of our legislative compliance check. That one needs a fix that I'm still trying to figure out how to fix. So we'll remove the fees from that one at that time too. But the fees that are stated here in the report will be the ones that will go into the bylaw, along with the notation that they are legislated and subject to change during the year from that.
When's the last time we had an assessment review board gather?
I've been here 20 years. I've done one. It was more than 12 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's all of a sudden like, have we even heard? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they brought that new legislation in 2011, I think, and we haven't seen an appeal since then. We've come closer. As the assessments continue to rise, there's much more conversation about appeals going on. So sooner or later, our luck will run out. Sorry. That is all that
I
I
was gonna
wanted.
ask you that up for Lisa now with the
Yep.
administration fees and the recreation fees. report. Team, do we have any other comments or questions about the legislative services item that's before us? I think that was less than short and sweet there, so thank you, Verda, that was perfect.
You're welcome.
Now we're gonna spend the rest of the evening talking about all these ice rates.
Before we get to the fun stuff, there's a few administration fees we would like to add, to bring forward on the bylaw revision. Many municipalities have these, we do not, but we would like to add assessment summary reports. These are for non-property owners because assessments are public information. We post the assessment roll redacted on our website, so we seldom get asked for this, but people can ask for it. So if someone was to ask for one, we'd like to charge $10. If they're asking for prior years, it would be $15 per report, which is 1 page. And then people can come in and ask to inspect the municipal assessment roll. Like I said, it's online, so we seldom get this request. In fact, I haven't had this request since we stopped printing it. And then, Vern and I are like, well, we'll just print it if someone comes in because it's huge. It's a massive amount of paper. And so then a staff member would inspect the municipal, like they would have to, watch the person inspect the roll, and it cannot be copied or taken out. So we're proposing $50 per hour just to cover some of the staff time. Again, these are rare, but we would like to put a fee to them.
That's an easy check mark, AP.
Check it off.
Good, okay, now for the fun stuff. Okay, so,
Coffee.
yeah, this is a tough one. When I was going through the comparisons, there is no rhyme or reason. There's not
No.
an easy,
Sorry,
like here to go, oh yeah, we're really low here, we're really high here. There's really not an easy win, in my opinion, but I did pose, just some thoughts, like should adult user groups carry a higher burden than youth? Should prime time ice be raised more than non-prime time since demand exceeds supply? Should non-local youth see more increase than local youth since Diamond Valley is currently lower than the surrounding areas that are booking the prime time? And should our recreation rates be in line with close proximity municipalities? I would suggest, I would have a look at the non-local youth. I think that there's some room there. And then the rest of it is really up to council's philosophy on where they'd like to land on this. And I will say as well that the 26, we're discussing the 26-27 rates. They are already in the current rates and fees bylaw, but of course those can be amended. But typically going forward, we'd like to see those set in the fall, just so that they're ready to go for budgets.
All right, let's open the floor here. You want to lead us away, Ashley? You're part of the
No,
group.
yeah.
You did the hockey all the time, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm kind of with the non-local maybe going up. I just look at the High Country Rockies, and we spent $110,000 on ice last year alone. So if you increase those local youth rates, that's 5-10%. That's a big number that ends up being reflected on our end for that particular group. And I mean, I know we kind of looked at the Diamond Valley Rockies, seeing their report and kind of what they were paying for ice. I'm just not sure why they're not paying a little bit more for their ice times, but
the prime time.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're non-prime, but I think we're charging them as a local group, are we not?
No,
No, okay.
they are paying non-local youth, which is what Okotoks is charging their junior teams for ice time as well.
Yeah.
Just seems,
Yeah.
your local adult, non-local adult, but prime time is the same.
I did clarify that. Sorry, there's some municipalities that have that. We currently have no, I checked with Brady, we have no adult groups that would not be considered local.
Oh.
I mean, on page 9 of our package, where we look at those rate comparisons for non-prime, that's pretty low for non-local,
Yeah.
like really low.
Well, I wasn't very nice to them when they came and then we jack up their rates. Say that.
It's true.
Like
But-
the chair,
okay,
just
go ahead.
a few points. So just to, again, for context, however these rates change, your cost recovery is not going to materially change. Bear in mind, the new ice plant alone was $1.5 million. So this is the premier paramount. This is basically everything the town does for rec has gone into this arena. Right? Not by omission or commission, but just, I mean, you know, our typical capital plan every year is 1.5 million, so this represented a complete year.
Yeah.
Just for the arena. Obviously, I've done comparisons before in other places, and it's there really is no rhyme or reason. Every council kind of grapples with it, where it's do you try for higher cost recovery, or do you try to subsidize local sports, right? It's a philosophical discussion as far as I'm concerned.
What do you say, council? This is the challenge, right? We know we're a little bit on the low side. Go ahead, Hazel.
In the, presently, I think we've been doing like $5 per hour every year. Could you increase that to $10 per hour? Would that be feasible?
Say that again, Hazel?
I don't wanna see that for the local news groups, cause you look at Phantoms, like you guys are such a small organization, right? Like, would that not affect you guys greatly?
I mean. I'm short answer, yes, but I also struggle with how much the community is subsidizing our rink.
27% now or 32%?
Yeah, that, I should say too, that's just operating, right? So, like, yeah, so the ice plant is 100% subsidized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thought of another way, every year our operating costs are probably gonna go up at least 10%.
yeah.
Include insurance and utilities, maybe even higher. So if your increase is not going up by at least 10% a year, your subsidy rate will just increase.
Yeah. And we've only been increasing $5 an hour for the last 3 years, correct?
Correct. And we're just to clarify, we're talking about the indoor rink right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been no changes on the outdoor rink since amalgamation. Just throwing that one out there too, just consider.
At least be inflation adjusted to the amount we're
Yeah.
increasing
Agreed.
the tax rate or if everyone's taxes went up, it's down 4%, 8%, but then the rate should go up 8%.
Good point.
Why don't you do it this way, John? Why don't you start here?
Yeah.
And then just work your way across.
Yeah.
Let's just have a general discussion about each one.
So let's start with the rate comparison there for our prime time. Diamond Valley, let's just focus on ourselves. You see the difference? Okotoks, who is sending a lot of their teams to our arena, like a dramatic amount. Part of me wonders if it's because there's a $47 an hour difference for them.
They'll
You know?
actually book our ice in hope and thinking they'll need it, and then they actually just don't come use it.
They pay for it,
They'll pay for it, but they just.
but they book the time
Yeah,
slot.
must be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what are we thinking about local youth there for Diamond Valley team?
I did like an average on the 5, and I got it 155.16 per hour.
155?
I would go with size 150. Because I want to talk more about non-local youth.
Yeah,
I think we can use the non-local youth to offset our,
the support that we're giving.
yes.
Should we not increase like the non-local, like a little more than our local users?
That's what I want
Yeah,
to do.
that's
That's what I
my
wanna do.
thought, yeah.
I would go like increase, so my example, go 150 on local youth and then go to 215, 220 non-local. Like that would be where my offset would be.
For prime time?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what we're under right now, right?
Yeah.
It's at 190. Go to
215 by $25?
sure,
Here.
sure. Or even 210 and gives us a little bit more wiggle room to move up a little bit more next year and kind of see potentially what the impact might be in booking times.
Uh-huh.
Like if we go too high, too much, we certainly don't want available ice.
Well,
Because-
you're not gonna get that. There's no ice available. Like, you
Yeah.
can't find ice
During
anywhere. If you
Okay,
can't
well
find
then
it.
go, yeah,
Yeah.
215, or, yeah. I would say 150, 220, 215.
You know, because that's like, I'm looking at the Rockies, they're non-local youth, correct? They only had 13 and a half hours of prime time this year so far.
Yeah.
So that's not because they can't get it. So it's not gonna really devastate them to that extent. Because obviously their practice time is much more heavy during non-prime time.
Correct.
So I think moving towards 215 is a good first step.
So then I guess if you look at like, so for Pine Country Rockies, we got 125 kids in the association right now, and we do a 10% or a $10 increase on our ice times, and that we reflect the same as this year. Each parent's fees have to go up $88 per family, approximately
Per child
per child,
for the year.
just to cover this $11,000 increase. And I don't know what that looks like for phantoms. I don't know what your guys' numbers are for that. And then, but I mean, I don't think $88 is unreasonable. Me, I've got 4 kids, and not if you still kind of food, but.
$352.
Yeah.
$80 increase on how much is the fee to begin with?
So, we're
What's the
kind of,
average parent pay?
it's between, if you're younger, you pay a little bit, yes, less, but you're looking between like 800 and $1,000-ish dollars. So it's, so, but yeah, so those costs are gonna download on our user groups too, so.
And that's a good point too, right?
I should just say to you, chairs, keep in mind, the cost of operating the arena will be fixed. They're just gonna keep going up 10% a year, so. Again, if the fees aren't passed on, you just pass it on to general taxation.
Yeah.
But we can't lower that cost.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like
yeah.
$88 if it does go up. I mean, if this happens every single year, hockey's not gonna be affordable
No.
for a lot of families, so,
No, but we've kind of been down
yeah.
since amalgamation.
We're playing catch up in a bad.
Yeah, which is why I don't mind accelerating the non-local youth, because that's gonna give us a bump on the other end.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that, then unfortunately, the conversation would be focusing on our youth, and that number would be higher than 150.
How do we get to a point where the input isn't based on because 2 people in a room have kids in hockey?
Mhm.
Like this is, I'm not trying to be confident here, but we took the emotion out of it, of what it's gonna impact you personally.
Well, yeah, I just look at everybody that's in sports doing that, that's
If in years when
possible.
your kids are all done hockey and your taxes are $7,000 a year, you could be like, that arena.
No,
You
that's
know,
what I'm saying, I was like, $88 doesn't seem unreasonable, but I
We
think,
couldn't handle that
I
every
don't
year.
think you could do that every year is the point that I'm making.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't have my kids in, so this is non-related topic to me. Okay, like.
But they're speaking on behalf of all of the people.
All of the people,
Yeah.
not just, not.
And I'm
Just
Yeah.
themselves.
Well, this is where I've got my mind on it. It is very important. Team sports is probably the most important thing for the youth.
Keeps them in trouble.
Well, it teaches them teamwork. It
Yeah.
teaches them, you know, we play different team sports in our house, so. It's still really important. So as a taxpayer, it's important to me to have that arena, but at the same token, how important is the dollar amount?
Yeah, and I know we recognize that these rec facilities, we're gonna run at a deficit, and Adam says if we're in between that 40 and 60%, we're doing the right things there. So I don't think $88 was that gonna be huge of an impact for families here. But like, if we come back to Brendan's point, I would like to see a bigger increase on the non-local, especially when you've got people like Okotoks coming in and booking ice, and then they just don't show up and use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point. And if you look there, the non-local amount regionally, Okotoks being our major, I don't want to say competitor, but I mean, regional partner in this regard.
Yeah.
And that's a massive difference between non-local youth.
Yeah.
So even 215 is very, if I'm in Okotoks and I want to play hockey on a prime time,
Still do it.
I'm gonna try to get into Diamond Valley.
Yeah.
So it's still attractive in that way.
And let's
Could
get some
even-
liquor sales in there.
Well, that's the truth. And we could even go up to 225. Cause
Yeah,
it's
I'm
still
just trying to
$50
keep,
flat.
I'm trying to stay close to High River, cause High River
Yeah.
isn't as high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I
keep
don't
in
want
mind
to
though,
push them away from us.
yeah, keep in mind, High River, I don't know off the top of my head, I haven't seen this recently. But their recreational fee, the subsidized rate is much higher. Like, it's much higher.
Okay.
Like, they had to increase their taxes significantly to do their swimming pool update.
Yeah, which
So-
is,
And that's the model they've taken, is taxpayer subsidized.
Yeah.
Where we're looking more at a cost recovery.
fee subsidizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so is it fair to say 150?
Yeah.
What's the number for non-local? 215?
What are your thoughts, Ashley?
I was gonna say 220, yeah.
Okay, go 220, and then local adult, what do we bump them up $10 to?
Yeah.
Cause it should be reflected from the local youth.
Yeah.
So we go 140,
10.
yeah, let's go up 10 on that. And then non-local,
That's a non-factor, is it?
It is, yeah, sorry, I just put that in for your comparisons.
Okay, so just-
That's
So
right.
keep that even 240. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
so
so
that's,
we're doing non-local adult, non-local youth, we're bumping up.
it's a
but
non-factor,
we're-
we don't have anybody.
Yeah, I bet should we just have it in writing as what we just did with the non-local youth regardless of what they use?
275.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, that sounds like a good idea until you look at the administration work on that. Right now, currently, and this is some admin work, we send out, we have to collect addresses for the youth. You local users for the county portion,
Mhm.
but it's a lot of work. So if we were to really determine, push those adult teams to give us all their personal addresses, it's tricky. So is it doable? Sure. Other places are doing it. I would suggest we don't, that, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. And then you'd have to count local as county as well. And I'm not sure how easy that would be administratively.
Leave it as is.
just leave it.
I don't wanna pay more for your brain.
What do you mean? I'm local adult. We just raised those fees.
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna pay more. I don't mind that.
All right.
Yeah.
So are we good there, Lisa, for the fine rates?
Do you mean to go higher than 240?
I was gonna say that.
Oh, okay.
Since it doesn't reflect that, should we have raised it a little bit more to?
Well, let's have the
Offset it?
debate next week.
Okay.
Is our next week we're doing this? Or?
It would be a little longer than.
longer.
Yeah.
Bring it back up.
This is the committee of the whole. This
Yeah.
This will not be ready for you next.
Yeah.
time.
It's,
I thought you were doing it right now as we were talking, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, next quarter.
Yeah, of course, okay.
Well, I think you wanted to interject there something?
No, again, this, as a taxpayer paying, I think it's important that we have some cost recovery, but we've gotta keep the youth going.
Yeah, and that was one of my only concern. I know you think it's like a personal thing for me. It is personal for me, but I do see families that struggle to pay these fees and to do these things every single year. And it's like kind of right in my face every year. So I'm like, I don't want to hinder people or kids in our community coming to do these things because their families can't manage it now. So everything's going up for their sports, but you say everything's going up 10% a year in their household too, right? Just
Yeah.
everything just seems to get harder and harder. So I think we just need to tread carefully about cost recovery, or downloading on the taxpayers and still making things affordable for the residents in our community. So
Well, to the point that we're gonna be going through here, we're gonna see how much the pool costs us and how much the arena costs us.
yeah.
Well, it's both things I don't use, right? So it's a lot of money that's being subsidized by the taxpayers. So the question is, how many taxpayers use the arena and how many taxpayers use the pool?
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna find it out.
We should talk about.
We gotta do the rate comparisons non-prime. Is there
Yeah.
something else you wanted to highlight?
No, I went too far, because I wanted to make sure we didn't miss the Scott Cena.
No, that's after the non-prime.
Yeah,
So we're
that's what I said. I went too
Yeah, we'll go into the non-prime on page 9 there. What changes do we want to see here? Do we want to hope for $10 each across the board? I think that's not a bad idea. That's a good starting point. Make it simple.
Are we
Good.
doing non-local more or are we just? leaving it to-
No, all the same. I think 5 up to 105.
I guess we
110.
could do non-local at 130.
That seems good.
Yeah, that, you know, because we have lineups and our youth are
Well,
local
this
youth.
is
But this is not prime.
But even
So
if you look at our
before
non-prime,
4:30.
our non-prime comparable.
It's terribly low.
People aren't
Well,
bringing
it's not nice,
cover
right?
your cars home, like Okotoks, Hampton, High River, we're substantially lower than them for
Yeah,
that.
local youth.
So that's, I would say 10%, $10, we'll just keep it the same as the other one, but I think that one still needs to go up at a larger margin than our local users.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. For us, there is not a large demand for non-prime, non-local. And I don't know this to be fact, but I would guess that you would see more in Calgary, possibly Okotoks, with homeschool programs, possibly.
Good point.
But, I would just. I guess I wouldn't spend a ton of time on this because I don't think your return is gonna be very big. The demand is pretty low.
So $10 across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Everybody good there?
What's going on with Claire's home?
Yeah, I don't.
Like, wow,
What's that weird number,
what,
man?
like the other one was like way lower than ours too. It's like,
Uh-huh.
do they even have a chiller or anything there? Is it outdoor? Like,
It's
Yeah.
refrigerator.
Put a couple things out there though too. It's for everyone too, right? It's like, this goes into franchise fees that we're talking about here.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
was gonna say.
compare apples to apples, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you have a town that has heavy industry,
Mhm.
that's your subsidization for everyone.
It is.
Likewise, if you're like these other towns, which you can look at for the franchise fees that are at 100%, they're collecting significantly more money in that method too.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what these other towns have, right? I mean, just to give an example, like in Prince George, like a single pulp mill brought in nearly $10 million a year in tax. So in a way, Canfor subsidized hockey in the entire town, entire city, right? So it's just other ways the numbers add up, right?
Yeah.
That gas plant up and running.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you bet we didn't get one of those sealed data centers here too, that recycle water, right? How did we not get that?
Right on that one, Julie.
Yeah, we are actually. Go ahead, Lisa.
Can I just ask for clarification? When this comes back, I'm assuming this is for the 26, 27,
It would
correct?
be, yeah.
Just want to make sure that we're all talking about the same season.
well, I wanted next
It's
week.
possible. I think I feel more like something.
And then on that too, Chair, so the idea here is we'd come back for the 1 year, you could get to assess it, and then next year you could reassess
we
and
need to
say if
adjust.
we wanna go up a bit or higher.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's go to the Scott Siemens.
Yeah.
Outdoor rink.
My kiddo's on that, really? No, going red.
Good. Both more ice times next year.
Do we want to take
They'll
a,
save you that $88.
do we need a 5-minute break, guys? Are we good to push through the Scott Siemens before we go
Yeah,
into the next
finish the
topic?
fees.
All right, let's finish this section of fees and then we'll take that. After you, Lisa, Scott Siemens team, what do we want to do?
I would suggest that council increase these. They have not been increased since at least the 24-25 season.
Wow.
I don't think it would be unreasonable, even if it's $5, but the fact that they're never being adjusted is not really that reasonable in my opinion.
How do you find the outdoor ice now with the new plant? Way
Right
better.
on Sunday, it was like 10 degrees. I mean, it was it was a tad soft, but it's impossible for it not to be. It's incredible. I talked to Brady a couple weeks ago when we hit 18. He said the chiller was running at 55%.
Oh, my.
So what I'm asking that is like, do you guys are finding that you're having to cancel more ice, less ice time? than you had
Everything's getting
last year?
moved to us.
Oh,
So in the last couple of weeks, like last weekend, for example, Matt was supposed to play in Redwood Meadows. All the games got canceled there because their ice melted. All the games got moved back here.
Yeah.
So everyone, that was when I did the repping for the charity game.
oh, yeah.
So his game changed to 7:30 and it was supposed to be 11:30 in Redwood Meadows. So then they weren't even cleaning the ice in between games because they were trying to get so many
Just get
teams.
somebody through it, so yeah.
So what,
that's making it-
ours is, we're the only outdoor ODR that has a chiller on it. I don't even know where the other one is.
Yeah.
I don't know where the other one is. Do you know where it is?
Which is why, no, I do not,
Okay.
which is why there's no easy comparisons for that rate.
This is just
because
as good.
That's
is.
right. And keep in mind that that refrigeration unit was, like Adam said, 1.5 million. It is supporting that rink too. So I like personally, I think it's unreasonable not to increase these rates slightly.
I know you're suggesting $5, but I think we need to go more than that.
No, we do.
Oh, I'm not actually.
Oh, sorry, you're like maybe $5, sorry. I thought you
I'm
were suggesting, I was like, I
suggesting,
think it needs to be more.
no, I'm suggesting
Prime
it's increased,
definitely.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like I would.
Throw a number, man.
What are we, what
One-
like,
one ten?
$110
$120 for
for
for,
prime.
what was it indoors?
yeah, well, our
We put it at
indoor was,
150.
it was 140.
It's
And now it's gonna be 150, so
Yeah.
like, it's like,
I would,
Would 110.
I would say,
it's one,
I would say 110.
I would, yeah, that's kind of where I
That's
was.
$20.
That's a big increase, and
It
you're
is.
gonna see a big increase in your guys's,
Yeah,
so.
it's fine. I'm gonna join more committees and kick you guys off.
So
I'll make
110,
up my per diems that way and.
go ahead, Hazel.
You can have cemetery.
So.
Cemetery is a great one. I got all the good committees.
I
Love that.
ain't touching that one. We'll more talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay, 110 on local youth prime.
Yeah, Hazel got a point, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hazel.
Does the town still continue to receive funding from the Doc Seaman Amateur
Yes.
Sports? So does that help?
Very minimal.
Yes, it is used to offset that, but I think it's $20,000. So it does help, but I would,
That's very nominal.
yeah, I would still increase the.
Yeah.
fees. I recommend
But
increasing them.
Yeah, we should. That money should be put into
It
it.
shouldn't be used to subsidize the rink.
It's got, you know.
So maybe that's
replacement.
the parameter.
So, yeah, probably is.
It is.
So 110 for local prime, local youth prime. What do you want to do with non-local?
Either 20 or $30.
So move that up to
Non-local.
140.
What did we? Well,
We went to 110.
no, I started for our indoor, we were at 190.
We went to 250.
220, or 215, I thought we went to
Oh,
220,
did we do
I
220?
think we said 220.
They're gonna bring it back to us. So
Yeah.
215 or 220.
Okay.
So 145 and 25. Cindy,
150?
I hear 150 from Cindy.
Going once, going twice.
150?
That's 30, you're going up 20.
Yeah, put it on there. We'll discuss it
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
can.
I
we
think
can
there
vote
should
on
be
it
a
later.
very different between
Local and non.
prime and non-prime too, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is crazy that those are the same.
So I do have a question here though, because non-local, that's a significant amount that we'll be requesting from the county, correct?
No, county's considered local.
Oh, okay.
And this is revenue, it offsets with, it actually will offset what they'll owe us, right? Because if
Yeah.
we collect, the more we collect, the less our bottom line, our deficit
Exactly.
is.
Okay, so that's good.
And then what I'm saying is like my daughter literally for her Okotoks girls team is practicing on the outdoor rink tonight because there's absolutely no other ice available in our area. Like we're driving to Vulcan on Sunday to practice, like there's just no ice.
So if your ice is
Okay.
as good now with the.
Yeah, and it's, yeah,
You
especially
might-
if
you
it's
should be
as
drinking.
good, we should be able to sit.
Okay, so 150 for non-local youth. What about adult prime?
60.
160, yeah.
160?
Yeah.
What about change rooms?
I didn't even know we charged for the change rooms.
I didn't know that.
How was that captured?
We do, if occasionally somebody might want to rent them just to use the change room, not the ice, but I think that's very one-off. I wouldn't even.
So just not worry about that.
I mean,
guys.
what's it-
Just-
Like you don't have ice and change rooms when you rent the ice,
Tell me
it's just,
about it.
it's not.
No, this is for non-ice rental.
Oh,
like
non-ice rental, sorry,
Somebody,
okay.
like, somebody might have a meeting in there or.
A
like-
meeting?
Oh,
Stinky.
I'm talking like maybe once every several years, like, I don't think that this is a big,
That's one of the most-
out of turn.
Okay,
What kind of meeting?
Well,
is
it's-
hosted?
I mean, we need to get an advertisement going on, rent the change room. Smell like a hockey. Did you miss that smell when you were growing up? Use the hockey change room, for your local board.
Well, then, no, is this one?
That's wrong.
What?
All right, let's,
So go non-prime.
so that's gonna obviously, the changes we've made here, looking at our last diagram here, or last chart. There's gonna be impact to the Diamond Valley Rockies with what we've done.
Yeah.
Not terribly significant, but go ahead, Lisa.
Well, I was just gonna say, do you want changes to non-prime as well,
Yep.
or?
Oh, yeah, sorry. that's
Jump
fine.
ahead,
I was
please.
jumping. Yeah. All right, non-prime.
Go up half as much,
Yeah, I would say that.
$10.
$10 across the board.
Or, I mean, go up half as much, so we went
That's
up
our-
20 for local prime
So go up
to
10.
Well,
110.
non-prime does not get that much use.
No.
though, So I don't wanna.
Just keep it the same.
Just leave it. What would be
Like, how much
considered
rental
non-prime,
do you
like
get?
Monday to Thursday during the day?
Monday to Friday during the day, and then there is, I should mention, there is some criteria, and again, I'm speaking from information I had in my brain from 8 years ago, but we do have to offer some public ice time on this rink to meet the criteria for the
For the grant.
grant funding,
Yeah.
which is why you'll see those after-school shinny times. So your non-prime is gonna be daytime up until that, after-school shinny.
Just leave it.
Let's just leave them then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Is there a rental like summertime for people to play?
In the ground.
Like, yeah, dry, is that?
And I did not put dry pad on here because we're in that season right now.
Right.
So I could bring dry pad back for the 26, 27.
are
That
they-
would be
are
the
they
summer of 27, right?
reasonable Already, or do they need to be increased?
The dry pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not,
Just-
it's not rented very often anymore. They used to get some lacrosse rentals. That has completely diminished with,
If it's not being rented much, let's not worry.
it's not, it really, to my
Yeah, I
knowledge.
just wanted to hear about the change room rental, so. That's fascinating. Harley's gonna say, how was the meeting? I'm gonna say, we're renting that change room.
It's your birthday party this year.
Yeah. Got a 40th coming up, yeah.
It's the nostalgia for me.
So if the Diamond Valley Rockies say they need a changer, they can just rent it out every day for the entire season.
They could.
Really?
Don't give them any ideas, but they could.
Yeah, but that hurts us.
Yeah, but not during, you're right, not during ice rental time,
Right.
that facility, because
It's-
the ice rental includes the change room.
Yeah.
This is just for, I don't, I.
No, why?
Gonna come up with it. It's for the weirdos.
Yeah.
Or the weirdos.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I got
or the
nothing.
weird rental room.
Yeah, just with that nostalgia.
I'm okay with it.
All right, are we good to move to pool rates, Steve?
Oh.
Yeah, we want,
Nope.
no, we didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, no, it's just an information for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what the Diamond Valley
Yeah.
Rockies are collecting, so they'll see an increase, but pay to play.
I really like the idea of just having one children, preschool, child, youth, just like you're under 18. Flat rate. Flat rate, but I don't know how anyone else feels on that.
What would you recommend that to be?
No, I would have a hard time paying for like my 1-year-old.
To flop around?
It's 3 for 1 and 2-year-old.
Go down to the river.
Or 3 to 5.
Oh,
Go to the
3.
river.
Yeah.
Go to the river.
Under the sunset?
Put the sprinkler on in the backyard and don't tell anyone that the sprinkler's on Wednesdays. It's interesting. Whatever your days are.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you. Currently, these are the rates that have been set for 2026. I believe I put it in here, but the town of Okotoks needs these rates next week.
Right.
So, if there is any changes that you're suggesting, I do need,
I just jump in there too.
sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Chair, since this needs to be done by next week, I would just strongly recommend keeping this flat for the year and then looking at it next year.
Yeah.
I mean, how much can we change? Look at the comparable.
Well, so it's no,
They're very similar.
You could go to $9 and you could go to $7. If you went right with Okotoks, you're not changing. You're actually losing money on the 6 to 11-year-olds.
I just see it silly, like 6 to 11 is 25 cents different, like
Yeah.
that's such a stupid
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Like round it to $5 and call it a day. Nobody wants to deal
For
with.
youth and child.
and so I think what we would do if the committee wanted to make those changes, we'd actually get a recommendation to council and then
Next
we would
week.
just initiate that.
Exactly, that,
And then you would confirm it at next council meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
I don't
like,
care.
less quarters to deal with, but I would just say put adult at 8, youth at 5, preschool at 3 and call it a,
Yeah.
that'd be my
And family at 20?
It just sounds too much. I kind of like the 18. I just don't like the quarters.
Psychological.
Like,
It's psychological.
since we got rid of pennies and you realize how big of a nuisance change is. And when I send my child, it's gonna get lost anyways that quarter.
Mhm.
So unless you use it for the changer, but go up, never seem to lock anything.
You leave the seniors, I think, alone, then you go up to 5 and then 3.
3.
But she's saying combine the 6 to
Yes.
17, you're the same, you're not
And
a
then
child.
$5.
If we had one chance to make a change before next week, what about a non-local fee? Being $5 more than.
How do you enforce that though?
Yeah.
You take everybody's like,
Driver's license.
yeah, but what about like a 9-year-old that doesn't?
Yeah,
have a
I don't think
driver's license?
Okotoks system is set up for that.
I can't speak to that. I know they do track it because the county contributes.
Yeah.
So they are tracking it when it comes
They already
in,
get
but
the contribution.
Okotoks would be managing that as
Yeah.
as they come in, and I'm not, so I don't know what that would do to their workload increase at all.
I would say, Colin, to that point, I understand where you're headed, but because with the intermunicipal collaborative framework, with the pool agreement we have there, depending on how many they use, they pay already a percentage of the operating costs. So that kind of makes it kind of redundant to add a non-local fee.
And usually the people that are coming that are non-local, it's because their grandparents live out here.
Yeah.
And their
Well,
grandparents pay
Yeah,
tax.
show Okotoks for that.
I think it would be worth even seeing the local and non-local groups, because if the county, if we finding it's more county, could they not want to contribute more?
Well, we
You're
actually
having
are
the-
percentage, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the percentages get reviewed.
Yeah.
Okay, Cindy, what numbers did you suggest again?
I was just gonna keep family the same, adult 8, youth 6 to 17 at 5, and preschool at 3.
And the senior
Senior at 6.
council, does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so that obviously that's going to our next council meeting, so we'll need a specific motion on that. So
Or
like this
Oh, are
committee
we
would have
like
to
too
make
late
a motion.
anyways?
No,
we can get this in quick tomorrow, I would think.
Oh, as long as.
Gotta go on the
you know,
agenda.
you can't make a motion or direction, sorry, Verna's looking like, no, that's not right, Lisa. But.
Admin initiated and see it on the agenda tomorrow. There you go.
Well, you really want this next week, don't you? I'm kidding. So
I know.
as long as I have
Yeah.
a sense of where council wants to go, yeah, I can get this to the town of Okotoks tomorrow and then this will come back with the rates and fees, before the
Yeah,
pool season.
If we got the recommendation, because we still need the motion via recommendation,
Yeah.
that would be solid enough for you to get that to Okotoks tomorrow, and then when this comes back and the rates and fees by law council, you just couldn't change your mind at that point.
All right, so you can make the recommendation.
Does anyone have any different ideas on those numbers that you want to talk about?
Or we
first?
could debate it. You
Okay,
make the
okay,
recommendation.
yeah, it's just sometimes easier to,
Fair enough.
if there's something I don't know, I'm happy to listen.
Oh.
So,
All right, I'm gonna interrupt. Go ahead, Brendan.
what's the I guess if it doesn't pass next week, then
No, so what we would do here is take the recommendation from committee.
yeah,
We would take those numbers, give that to Okotoks, and then when the fees and charges come back, you'd essentially just stamp it, but the fees would already be in place.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if we don't pass it at,
Right
this means
now.
it needs to be.
No, it has to be
tonight.
unanimous.
Oh,
If you don't
unanimous
like it, that's why I'm saying, if you don't like one of the numbers, you better say something now.
yeah, I don't care to change any of the numbers, but I'll support it if you guys want to.
I think the seniors, I think you could go up to $7.
Leave the seniors.
Yeah, I would think the seniors, it's their fixed income, and a lot of people, that might be the only exercise they can get. Like
Yeah,
just-
but they're morning exercise, especially the gym people, they're full, they just walk there, it's great.
I'm leaning towards with Brendan right
You're
now,
right,
Cindy.
so,
Only because these are the 2026 numbers. And we haven't given them a lot of runway to know that we're changing them.
And to be
Like the
fair,
community
we're
hasn't, so-
increasing it by 25%, or sorry, 25 cents.
It's
50
not gonna
cents.
make
It's
a
just not gonna
difference.
make a difference, yeah.
For the work that Lisa's gonna have to go through.
Yeah.
And the stress that.
my hope would be to jack if the price is good and. Last year, I had sent my kid to the pool 10 times. I think he got in 3 times because of the lineups. If there's that big of a lineup and a demand,
Yeah, that's why at least like $5 for kids, because that's who's predominantly using it, right?
Yeah, charge
Is kids. So that little extra, they're gonna lose the change anyways, they might as well lose it to us. That's my feeling.
I got my kid $10 to go to the pool, you can't get it because there's a lineup, he goes and spends it on something else anyway, so.
He's a smart kid.
That's got 20 in your wallet anyway, so he's losing the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm hearing a bit of conflict here.
Yeah.
I'm fine with whatever you guys want to
But-
do. We've
We've
everything.
hashed it. We've upped everything else.
I raised it to make it worthwhile, otherwise just keep it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh my
All the
God.
ice cream users will just pay for the.
Well, keep in mind, we are subsidizing this to at least 50% by
Yeah.
our taxes, right? So,
What is good with Cindy's numbers?
Just,
okay, so that's on the
I mean,
table. That's a
okay,
recommendation.
just changing the kids, just put kids at $5.
Well, we
that's
want to
easy
increase
to
the
do.
adults to $8 too, right?
No, I'm fine with $7.50
Okay.
on adult.
Adults should be paying.
So you're okay with change?
I
Your
want
adults
to make
take all the
it
kids.
6 to 17-year-olds.
$7.50 for a coffee, come on, it's $10.
It's gonna be cheaper to pay for
I
family
dare put no
than it will be for two people to go.
Family $40.
I don't hate where you're going with this, because we just downloaded a bunch of costs to all, everybody that uses the ring.
Yeah,
I don't
We're,
use the
we're
phone.
now, we're not doing.
There's a bunch of.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so what we're hearing is, let's just conclude here. Keep the family rate at $18.
It's not go the same as Okotoks. I mean, we're the same, but they're, don't we have an agreement with them anyways, it's the same user groups, why don't we just go the same as Okotoks? And be done with it.
Call it a day.
18, 9, 7.
But they're indoor, they are indoor.
Beautiful indoor pool.
Yeah.
It is 40-year-old outdoor pool with no shade.
That is the
Yeah, that's
whole
fine.
sound.
Yeah.
Get there, Kelly.
Get it done. You know, I actually like Cindy's numbers again, but.
Well, my
I think that's
only, and how much work is it to tell Okotoks?
None.
It's just that you
It's
just
the
say,
only-
no.
You guys
I
just
voted
can't
for
change our
it.
mind.
Yeah, but see, what Lisa just said there is critical. We can't change our mind once
Yeah.
we give this
Yeah.
recommendation, because
Yeah.
Lisa has to action it tomorrow morning.
I do, and then when the rates and fees bylaw
We'll
comes
be
back,
so with us.
these rates that
They're locked in.
they're locked in
You gotta remember that.
because I've given them to the town of Oak
Yeah.
Brook. So that's the only thing. I mean,
It
it's
is.
no extra work for me. It's just that there's no
You can't.
there's no room to change them for the back for the 26 season.
I vote the 3, 5, group that all together, and then the 8.
So what Cindy said.
Yeah.
So 18, 8, 6. Youth and child together at 5, preschool at
3.
3.
No
All right.
range.
No, I go family 25.
Yeah.
and
Can't
Senior
be more
center.
than the indoor.
It's
and open,
You're
so.
excused from the next meeting.
So we've got Cindy's numbers as a recommendation.
Yeah,
It needs to be unanimous, even though I know you'd like to see higher, Colin.
Yeah.
I would recommend a unanimous here, just so that we get this increase in place, or we're gonna lock it down as to what we already have.
I'm in favor of what Cindy said.
All right,
I'm fine with moving along here.
all right, so let's take the vote. All in favor of what Cindy has recommended? All opposed? All right, so that's defeated because it needed to be unanimous, so we'll just lock it in at what we currently have.
So we'll lose money.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't unanimous.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
have a requirement, yeah.
Okay.
Can I try a second motion of just changing the children?
I think we kind of beat that one a little bit. I mean, you're welcome to, Cindy.
I'm going to, if we can get unanimous on making kids 7 to 17, all $5,
As the one change.
one change.
What do you guys think? All right, that looks like it's unanimous. All in favor? That's carried unanimously, so,
That's a majority of our users.
yeah.
Okay, we got the one, or
Just the one
change combined to 2 to 5.
And easier for them to pick, like, whether that kid's 6 years old or whatever.
Okay,
If you
yeah, as much as we want, cost recovery on some of these places, the rec policies are,
I'm not looking at cost recovery, I'm talking about reducing the lineups so that our local.
Well, that's
people can
actually-
get.
there's a lot of truth to that call.
Yeah, the problem
There's
is
a lot
we
of
just
truth to that.
price people out too, though.
Yeah, we have stuff to make things affordable for residents.
Because we're gonna hear about it, man.
Yeah, we will.
We just gotta be
You
careful.
know, maybe it goes to sky filters.
We're done. we're cutting people.
He's like, I feel
I didn't say don't take anything I say towards you.
Lisa's got her hand up.
Insecurities are not my fault.
So,
Really, really fast.
go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, for a minute, I was forgetting what I was gonna say. I got sidetracked with your conversation. Oh, I can bring back not for 2026, but looking into what that would look like for a non-local rate and how that would be captured, what we're currently capturing for data for the county percentage. I mean, I know we're doing something just because I'm new to this portion. I'm not super familiar with how it's tracked, but I'm willing to look into it. I can bring that information back because what I'm hearing is maybe if it's reasonable and Okotoks would be open to it in 2027, providing they're involved, that a non-local rate might be something that council is interested in. Am I hearing that correctly?
It is. Yeah,
Okay,
and
okay.
we're doing that with our other facilities. So Colin, thanks for bringing that up. That's a good idea. All right, team, we've got these recommendations to go through, but after that, we have our municipal enforcement update and strategic ideas. So why don't we take a 5-6 minute break?
Yeah, sounds good, Chair. I just want to confirm actually with Berna and Lisa and Carrie, now that we've got all of that soft direction in there, do we actually need these recommendations? Looking more for you, Berna. See, we had these to guide the discussion,
Yeah.
but I think you kind of hit every one as
We
we
did, didn't
went.
we? You know,
Can we just give a general motion to revise the rates and fees bylaw as discussed in the count?
Yeah, I think
And
that
bring it
would,
to council?
A recommendation
Next
to
quarter,
bring in
yeah.
amended bylaw forward
Yeah,
as
yeah.
discussed? Yes.
okay, that's a great recommendation. Iris, did you catch that? All right, you want to read it back? That's a great recommendation. So we have the recommendation from Cindy here to
Yeah.
bring back the rates and fees bylaw as discussed, the amendments therein. I think that's broad enough, correct?
that is, we can.
All right, all in favor? And that's carried 100%. All right, let's take a,
Ask a question.
yeah, fire away.
One thing that I haven't seen and the towns never have charged is for the ball diamonds and the soccer pitch. And-
No.
OSC, do they not?
I don't know if there's-
There is a fee somewhere. Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm gonna speak to that, but I'm not gonna be able to answer your question, unfortunately. It was actually brought to my attention this week. One of my staff asked me about that, same with the gazebo rental, and I'm gonna have to look into that
Yeah.
and figure it out. I'm sorry, I actually wasn't aware. I'm assuming there's an agreement with OSA and they do the scheduling, like we don't schedule those, but I need to sort that out, and it was kind of off my radar until this week.
Yeah, we can get back to you on that. We're gonna talk to Craig on that because the ball diamonds, we maintain it.
Yeah, we do.
We
Yeah.
don't.
It's in foothills, right?
Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yes,
Man, can we get back to you on that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the gazebo rental's under the use Blair and
Turn
Dairy.
around once during the week.
Yes, it's for the power, but I just learned about that this week, so I apologize. I'm still catching up on a few things.
Would that be something in the fee schedule that we would see potentially? Like the
It's a great
ability of our
question.
gazebo
It's
rental?
not in there.
No, I mean, there's
Um,
campground fees.
Oh,
Should be.
yeah, so I have some work to do for this, and I will get that sorted out and bring it back as soon
Yeah.
as I can get everything kind of figured out.
Okay, go ahead, Ted.
The slow pitch league, I asked about, playing on the new ball diamond, and I was told that no, it's much more expensive
It
than
is.
playing at the one by Millerville and, the one by Campground. So
You don't wanna put it down.
I don't know whether that.
I do believe it's the Boys and Girls Club that. So let us get back to council on this.
All right, let's go ahead, just take a bit of a recess here, at least 5 minutes. We'll call our meeting back in order here. If you're just joining us, we were on a short recess. We're gonna look into our franchise fees next. And franchise fees, Lisa, if you want to give a brief explanation how they're used and the value franchise fees, then we'll just let you take it away from there.
Okay, so, franchise fees are charged by ATCO and Fortis. They are on every resident, or sorry, every user within the town, it's on their utility bill. It is usually charged on transmission and distribution. And there's a percentage. The AUC, Alberta Utilities Corp, has a max percentage that the town can choose to charge. They can be controversial. Some people think they're a hidden tax because most people truthfully don't look at their utility bill. You know, the big, sorry, the big thing with these is that they can bring in a lot of revenue, as you can see from the numbers presented, and they also can be applied to those properties that are tax exempt. The time to do this for 2027 is in the fall, so we have lots of time, but I just think it's worth having the conversation and maybe seeing what council's philosophy is, so that there's time for administration to get the ball rolling on this. There's also a requirement for advertising that has to be met prior to both for ATCO and Fortis prior to an increase.
Right on. And CAO, if you want to just confirm, one of the key aspects about franchise fees in a perfect world, they would cover the town utilities, so to speak. We're well short of that, if I'm not mistaken, in our last, we didn't really have that budget in our last budget, or that report in our last budget. We did a couple of years ago, and there was quite a bit of a deficit, correct?
Sure.
We
Yeah,
used
go
to be
ahead.
quite aligned.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can just say a few things, Chair. So, yeah, I mean, ideally, that's how I would view it. The franchise fees covers town utilities. Like we said last year, our utilities went up very high.
Yeah.
That was one of the core drivers of the last projected tax hike. So certainly from administration's perspective, I would recommend council consider increasing them. You do have the 2 pages from both ATCO and Fortis as well,
Yeah.
to show all of the other towns. You can see it's all over the map, anywhere from the minimum to the maximum. But one way to look at it, you know, for example, if ATCO right now is at 15%, and that collected $234,000. So to increase that to say 25%, I mean, that'd bring in an additional, you know, 150,000, so to speak. So that's almost a 2% offset when you're looking at that $75,000 to $80,000 per each 1% of tax. But like Lisa said, some folks do see this as a hidden tax. I would prefer to see it as more of a user pay,
Yeah.
and it's quite fair. So those that are tax exempt, are not exempt from this. But this, just like we were talking about fees earlier, this is also a philosophical position of council, because when you go to the other towns, you can see that some are at 0 and many are at the maximum. Looking at our neighbor, Okotoks tends to charge the maximum for both.
What's our deficit right now? Do we know?
our deficit.
Like, as far as town utilities being covered by franchise fees?
Just give
If we were to take, if we were to take away West End, because we're hoping to get to a more cost recovery with our utility fees, we're still at deficit, obviously.
I'm just looking up a document, I can answer that.
And I can't say, Chair, just off the top of my head, I think it was $1 million in the last budget when we were looking at
Yeah, I have the
utilities.
budget. Yeah, 13,000
Okay,
Really?
in utilities. And that's also water, like our water fees should be charging something
Mhm.
extra for the town water,
Yes.
right? Yeah, like we can't be double billing it, like working it into our into our sewage fees and working it into our water fees and then also trying to cover utilities. Like the same $1 million in multiple places, like that wouldn't be transparent. So. We have to pick which ones we're covering with franchise and which ones we're covering with user
Exactly.
fees.
yeah, fair enough, but I suppose from one way to look at it, another way to look at it is how do you want to close the deficit? Do you want it in taxes or in fees? Because ultimately our budget is taxes, fees and grants. So if fees are higher, taxes are offset. If fees are lower, taxes are higher.
Keep going.
The problem with you, The reason we have a property tax system, people that can afford a larger house can pay more in taxes versus electricity bill. Even a low income person has to use kind of the same amount of as somebody. Yeah, you know, somebody in a more expensive property, so oftentimes they're less efficient, right? Because you're living in lower income, living in a leaky, windows have to be replaced, whatever. So that's why I like just covering, like, that I can say to residents, oh yes, it's in there, but it's covering the streetlights, it's covering our town facilities, everything everyone uses. To me, that's justifiable. But to say we're just trying to offset our property taxes, well, that really hits the low income people.
Yeah, because
That's where I am.
yeah, I understand where you're at there, Cindy, because that's always my concern. Yet at the same time, the areas that are exempt from our property taxes, there's an imbalance there.
Yeah.
And that's always the challenge. So, without discussing numbers, I do want to have a discussion here, team. What are your thoughts about the franchise fees, about the increase of those? You know, I don't know, Lisa, if you got that data as to what the gap. Is the gap firm at $1 million that we're under as far as town utilities? We're short $1 million, or
I was just gonna pull, so I'm working on for next week, the year-end financial,
Mhm.
so this will be 25 if that's okay.
Yeah.
But, Stuff for utilities.
I mean, if we do the quick math here, you add the 15% and 10%, we're roughly at 530,000, or pardon me, 630,000 as far as revenue is concerned. But if I mean, if we have a gap of 350, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, we're pretty, last year, I would say we're pretty close, honestly, for utilities. Now, to Cindy's point, that does include water because we don't separate them out, but it's not that I can't separate them out, so I can bring those numbers back. But the 26 budget is gonna be a whole different ballgame because of the increases to electricity. They're significant.
Right.
So for 2025, we know it looks pretty good, but for 26, that what we're currently collecting in franchise fees will not cover our electrical bills.
So the tax exempt properties are paying water and sewer rates though, right?
Yes.
So we are collecting there, so I would like to see the numbers for utilities, not including the water treatment plant or the sewer, well, like.
Yep.
Like not including the sewer, because we should be charging that to the sewer rates. Right?
That's the goal.
And then water, it really, the town water use, I don't know, the fire department probably uses most in the pool. I mean, that should be somehow put into the water rates, shouldn't it?
It is,
It
so
is?
you're correct, so
Water
those
use.
are all expensed to each facility so that we can see the actual facility's cost. So it is built into the budget. Yes, they are part of property taxes, right? So they're being, those facilities expenses, town facilities are built in to your expense line on the budget. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
Yeah, for the water it works out, but the
Yeah.
electricity and the gas.
Right.
bills, the pool and the fire department, that should be getting charged to the franchise fees.
Yes, I mean,
Right, yeah.
keep in mind, like franchise fees don't have to be used for utilities. You don't have to
Right.
it's just a shift of where you collect revenue. If council's philosophy is to only want to use them for utilities, that's okay. It's just shifting, it really is a shift on where you collect that revenue, how you collect it. And the other point I want to make that I did make in the report is when we're comparing our tax rate to other municipalities' tax rates that have max franchise fees, just think of the money Okotoks can collect from their franchise fees with those max
Huge.
percentages. It's huge. So it does changes that comparison, right?
Changes perception.
It sure does. Yes, it's like, we're collecting minimal franchise fees compared to the town of Okotoks, but everyone wants to compare our tax rates with them. But they're offsetting their tax revenue with franchise fees.
Correct. Yeah, maybe I'll just jump on it too. So, if you go to from where we currently are to our max, there's like a $750,000 gap there.
Yeah,
It's about 10% of our tax, right? So when you compare that to like Lisa saying with Okotoks, that's why you can't really get these apples to apples comparisons.
Yeah.
The other thing too is these numbers fluctuate, right? It comes down to how much energy
people
consumers
Yeah.
use. And so that's the other big piece, but we just wanted to get this in front of council now because it's, you know, we know the cost increase to West End is going to be significant again. We're gonna have another tough budget year and this is one option to lessen that tax number via other means. But at the end of the day, just like we're talking about fees for the pool or the arena, there's only one bucket it comes out of.
Yeah.
Right? There's one taxpayer and it's just how council wants to allocate those costs.
But this is what we charge them, so they would just turn that cost to their customers anyway.
Yeah, the
Correct.
example
They
that
can go on it. Yeah.
yeah, because it's based on your consumption.
So whether we're taxing them or whether they're making a profit off of them.
What were your thoughts there?
No, I was just gonna say, back to Cindy's point, is like, you've got an old house, leaking windows, your consumption's up, but there are people that are really conscious about their consumption, right? So maybe that a resident feels in control of how much they're spending versus it being on the tax bill where it just comes out at 20%. And no, I can actually turn off all my lights. I'm not gonna use so much water. I'm actually more in control of these versus that. That was just my thought.
So obviously you need our support to bring forward an RFD in Q3. Do you need the numbers with that RFD beforehand? Or would you just present options at the time?
I could present options at the time, absolutely. I just guess I was looking to see if council has an appetite to possibly increase franchise
I
fees
think
or.
I do.
And I don't want to speak out of turn, Hazel. You have an appetite?
Like to see our fees be a little bit more in line with our neighboring communities. Like
Yeah.
even Longview starts on 20%.
Oh, really? Ted, how do you feel about it? Put them up, eh? Colin, I don't have to ask you. I mean, it's up,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm just saying, to Ashley's point, right, like, if we do it this way, then the person's a bit more in control of what
Yeah.
they use, what they don't use.
Yeah.
We don't do this and we gotta raise our taxes, then you don't have any control of
Yeah,
cutting that down. So,
it's consumption control.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideal.
I gotta pay so much more in ice fees now that I just got bath water at this point.
For 3 days.
I'm gonna dump it on my lawn so it doesn't get straight.
Rose house.
That's funny. Where are you there, Brendan? Increase, Cindy?
I'm not in favor. I like a tax bill because it's the same every month. You know what it's gonna be. It's not, doesn't vary. So
Yeah.
for the household budgeting, and I do think this will hit the low income people.
A little bit higher.
So. That's where I'm at. But I get the argument that if we're not doing what everybody else says is, and then we look bad. Sure.
I think, Chair, like from the administration's perspective, for us, it's just more, again, going back to tax, when most people go, well, okay, town X increased by 4%, why are we looking at 20%? It's like, well, if our fees were the same as the town comparator, it would have actually been the same percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another way, right? So this is just where, I guess whatever works for our town is obviously unique here, but that's just sort of the big differentiator that I can see at least.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't want to speak, I guess I need to, but, you know, speaking for council, I think it's wise for us to move forward and explore the increase. What that looks like, different rates, you know, obviously you don't have to go to maximum. And some of these towns have like a 14.4%. It's like, how'd you come up with that? Obviously, they were looking at a revenue need, so they came up with that number, but
I would do like a 15, 20, 25.
for some of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that kind of gives us the high number, because I,
With the ad.
year one, I certainly wouldn't look at going 35%, right?
Yeah.
But I
We-
mean,
We have that work done already predominantly based
Right.
on an estimate for 2026. Fortis, I think you've got the numbers there, 12, but it's got to be in the RFP anyway, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
If that works, Chair, we could bring this back the same time as water and sewer.
September-ish,
I think by then.
that's the end of Q2.
Sure, or-
Q3 would be October, November, December. Yeah.
I would do it
Q4, sorry.
Q2, just so
Yeah,
there's time
Bunch of advertising and whatnot.
for the advertising and just make sure I'm not missing anything, because I haven't. gone through this process yet, but, yeah, I can bring that back. I'd like to bring it back in Q2 if you're okay with that.
Yeah, go ahead, Hazel, and then,
Can you please remind me, Lisa, is it like for a 2-year period? Like, we can't do this every year.
we probably
Yes, we
tried
can.
for a term.
You can, and you can also lower it. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that if something changed and you went high, yeah, you can change it every year.
I think the recommendation was here to consider it for the term. Did I read that right?
Yes, we've
Yes.
gone back and forth
Yeah.
on this because I think what trying to get at is to see what the projected tax hike will be and then present options. But the problem is you kind of need this done beforehand.
Yeah.
So ideally, we would know what water, sewer and franchise fees is all in one, to give you that budget.
Yeah.
Overview.
Sounds good. So Q2, whenever you guys bring it back in time, whatever you
Yeah, as
need.
long as I just want to make sure I have time for the budget. So yeah, for sure, it will be brought back Q2, Q3, but.
Brendan, you
plenty
had
of
a
time.
question?
Why did we do the open house for the water rates? Was that just because we were being nice or did we have to do that?
No,
That was just a public participation engagement that.
We did not have
seriously
to do that.
backfired. We didn't have to.
Yeah.
We put ourselves out there.
So we're not doing one for this. So
no.
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't something that was gonna be on our doorstep.
It's not an in-person, an in-person advertisement.
No, this is,
like
this is
that.
where we've been elected to make tough decisions.
Okay, cool. That was my only question.
No, it's a great question though. It really is.
To prepare myself for another slaughter.
Yeah, right?
It only hurts if you let it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it didn't hurt. If anything, that made my.
And just for clarification, would you like it if I brought back your, or our budgeted, like just compare it to the power and gas
Please.
bills?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And obviously council, once that decision is made, communication, we have to be consistent with that. And there's nothing wrong with comparing
Not
ourselves,
telling anybody.
comparing ourselves to other municipalities. I mean, it's very,
Wait till the bill hits.
there's nothing wrong with beating the drum that other municipalities in our region have maxed out their franchise fees to keep their property tax increases at a nominal amount.
Yep.
So.
And it puts more responsibility on the homeowner.
Mhm.
It gives people more control. So I think that's important.
It is. All right, anybody else? I know Cindy, you're reluctant. I totally understand that. So obviously we'll have a chance to discuss this more.
Tax.
Yeah. All right, that is franchise fees. Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated. So now we're into our municipal enforcement, strategic planning. Chief Moore and Sergeant Hogan, they like coming right front and center.
We just have to move.
I was gonna say,
Ready for some new chairs.
all right.
It's coming out of your paycheck.
It is, right?
All right. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, I guess.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for having us come here tonight. As with most of the departments, there was an opportunity to, for the new council, almost 50%, take an opportunity to first give you a bit of a lowdown on how things work in the municipal enforcement world, maybe dispel some myths, maybe educate on some of the processes and stuff and how they work. So that's what we're going to start with. That was the PowerPoint and sort of the kickoff to the strategic plan. Prior to this, just after amalgamation, municipal enforcement created what was called a performance plan. It was more of an internal guiding document, but we saw an opportunity, one, to give more input to council and to align it with council strategic objectives. So that's where we pivoted this new plan for the remainder of the term to be a strategic plan for municipal enforcement. As a keynote right now with the new policing committee starting up, municipal enforcement does not fall under the policing committee. There is opportunity potentially in the future to consider that, but for now it's just going to be the RCMP. So this will be a real opportunity for council to direct or give sort of that strategic vision for municipal enforcement through this plan. So if there's no questions on that, we'll start with just kind of doing a bit of the overview and we'll kind of go back and forth here with Sergeant Hogan.
I will try not to bore you to death with PowerPoint. So just briefly who we are, why we exist. So we are an agency that supports the quality of life, public safety, community standards. So we deal with all your bylaw enforcement, traffic safety, animal control, regulatory compliance, and community safety. So we work with planning, Land use issues, we have our hands in most of the pots. We are provincially appointed, everybody on my team right now, we are all community peace officers. And appointed under the MGA as bylaw officers. So being a peace officer, my entire team has graduated from Peace Officer Academy. So there's a level of difference between a bylaw officer and a peace officer. Bylaw officer can be pretty much anybody, and a peace officer has to go through recognized training, background investigations, annual recertifications, and all that fun stuff. We're going to talk about pre-amalgamation. So prior to amalgamating, two separate communities, obviously, 4 community peace officers and 1 animal control officer. So Black Diamond and Turner Valley had their own varied schedules with gaps in services. So when we break down, we start looking at how it worked, a lot of gaps. The reporting process. So how do I report a concern? It was done a lot by calling officers' cell phone numbers, not through a central dispatch center or anything like that. Looking at the statistics, and council had our annual report last meeting, you'll see that prior to amalgamation, it was very traffic focused with very little bylaw enforcement conducted. Black Diamond provided contracted services to the village of Longview back then for 16 hours a week. So when we look at our numbers, you take Black Diamond and Turner Valley, their output in 2022 data, they did 663 combined. So that's tickets and combined files together. And then we look post-amalgamation. We're now one big happy community. We have 4 community peace officers. We have a defined reporting process. We use Foothills 911. So every call for service from my team, unless they see it themselves, funnels through our dispatch center. Everything is tracked. From the call coming in is audio recorded to the point it goes to our officers in our report management system. We put a high emphasis on bylaw enforcement and education. That wasn't done in the past, so we stepped that up. Community engagement, we are part of the community, we are visible. Education outreach as well. And right now we are providing contracted services to the village of Longview for 20 hours a week. So we look at our output in 2025, we did 1,352, and that's combining tickets and our files.
Does that include Longview?
That does not include Longview. Okay. So you're looking at our organizational structure, so how we are set up. So 7 days a week coverage right now based on our staffing. Earliest 7 a.m. to 11:45. We go into the summer months. We're going to have officers out 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, partnering with the RCMP for impaired driving and other activities. As you saw in our annual report, we have a lot of data that we work with to determine when's the best time to have officers. So we use that to prioritize for peak demands. And after hours. So with the Foothills 911 using as their dispatch in the event of an after hour emergency that they really need an officer, there are steps that can take that they can get a hold of us. That was never in play before. So it's the big change there. So now we tie into Longview as part of our structure. So it works out to be around 86 hours a month. We provide traffic enforcement down there and very minimal bylaw enforcement. 2 positions are funded by Diamond Valley taxpayers based on today's model. 1 position is shared between Longview and Diamond Valley, and that is fully paid for by the village of Longview. So this contract gives us more capacity in Diamond Valley without additional tax impact on our taxpayers.
This is the part that I love here. So, and this is one of the big opportunities we wanted to give some of this background to you guys. So the actual workload again versus the not perception. We know out in social media world, there's people who say, oh, we never see our peace officers, they're never doing anything. And on the flip side, you'll have the people complaining that, how dare they come out to measure my grass? We're never going to win. It's a tough job. We know they're out there. The data supports it. We know they're doing the work. That's essentially, I think it was a 68% increase, or a 68% of all enforcement activity is bylaw enforcement investigative work. There's another slide coming up where it actually talks about how much of an increase that is from prior to amalgamation. So a big emphasis is on community standards, making sure we have a community that's pretty, make sure a community that's safe, make sure we have a community that's healthy. A big thing on this though, an opportunity we wanted to give council, and if you have any questions or dialogue, this is an opportunity to do it. Really, a bylaw complaint in many cases is often boiling down to a neighbor dispute. A neighbor doesn't like something a neighbor is doing. So, one of the problems with that is that it's not the municipality's job to get in and sort this stuff out. If there are clear violations of bylaws, obviously the municipal enforcement team will address them. However, there is two terms for the courts that they use, a absolute liability and a strict liability. An absolute liability is if I am driving down the street and I am going 1 kilometer over the speed limit, I have broken the law. Can't argue it. It's cut and dry. The moment I go over 1 kilometer over, I have broken an absolute liability law. Most bylaw enforcement is called a strict liability, which means there is motions, there are different things at play. Is there intent to break the law? Was there attempts to fix the error and that kind of stuff? So in order to be successful in court, because a lot of people are like, I want you to go out and ticket that person and they deserve to be fined. We have to factor in that these are strict liability offenses that result in discretion because the court will be looking at the same thing. So a great example, my neighbor idles their vehicle in the morning and he has a louder truck. Is it potentially disturbing your peace as per the bylaw? Possibly. And maybe we'll say yes. However, is it reasonable for someone who owns a diesel pickup truck that they have to start it a few minutes before they leave for work? Yes. So when municipal enforcement may investigate that complaint, as much as the person may feel a bylaw has been violated, there is no successful chance for prosecution if it was taken to court. So municipal enforcement proceeds with education and if possible, working to mitigate the problem. Do you think you could do it at a different time? Can you park somewhere else? But at the end of the day, not everything can be mitigated. That means people aren't always happy with the end result, but they don't realize that majority of bylaw enforcement is a strict liability. There is no black and white. That's an important thing to remember, and especially as councillors, when you get people complaining about different things, or I can't believe we let this person do this, so why do we let them do that? Many times, if municipal enforcement doesn't see it in person, it involves witnesses. Again, they can't go lay a ticket and take someone to court if they don't have proof. That proof is often the person who has to report the incident. And unfortunately, in many cases, most people don't want to go to court and be a witness against, let's say, a neighbor or somebody they don't like. It creates a conflict. But what that does is that means the municipal enforcement file typically falls short pretty quick after that. We're not going to put a bunch of time and effort into trying to get someone to comply with something if you're not going to follow through and be a witness, because then there's no chance of any enforcement action being taken. So that's just some pieces we wanted to kind of explain that for council to understand how that process works, because it's not that work isn't being done. It's not that there's not effort being done to try to mitigate these problems. There's just so many pieces to it. And the big piece at the bottom of this one was, it's not just ticketing. This really is case management. There is a reason why law enforcement agencies like the RCMP download some of this work that they respond to municipal enforcement. They're going to go out and deal with higher priority crimes. Municipal enforcement can deal with some of these smaller issues, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to make somebody's happy. In fact, municipal enforcement always usually leads to at least one party unhappy. So that's just some perception we wanted to fix there. Are there any questions about that though? Because it can be quite often a misunderstanding of how that works. Well, you should be able to, great example, we have this quite often with Public Works. Snow being plowed out into the street. Can I say beyond a reasonable doubt, which means with almost certainty, that person and that house took their snow and put it onto the street? If municipal enforcement can't say that beyond a reasonable doubt, they are not going to be ticketed. As much as we can probably all see from a common sense, it really is probably Joe Blow putting it on the street. We cannot prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. It will not be successful. It's not worth the town's money. It's also not worth our time to continue chasing it. Which is why there's going to be a slide coming up a little bit later. Why municipal enforcement has taken a proactive approach to the education and trying to gain compliance through just educating people about being good neighbors, being good stewards of their community, If we can try to instill that culture, we can try to deal with some of these things. Another important one here, which just kind of ties into that same thing, is the department moved away from that traffic ticket heavy model. We're still addressing matters. We're still hitting the hotspots. Matt's going to talk to how they did that. They moved to a proactive bylaw program called BEEP. Matt does love his acronyms. He can explain that to
Bylaw Education Enforcement Program.
It's just a proactive matter where the town's basically being split up to zones. Our officers have assigned zones for which they must mandatorily proactively patrol, looking for bylaw infractions, whether that be the lawns, unsightly vehicles, dogs, all that kind of stuff, just in a more controlled manner. Rather than driving around aimlessly looking for stuff, they actually have a structured manner of how to look for things. The other big part to that is because of that, as I think council may have recognized over the last year and a half, through some of the complaints from the public is, well, now we have bylaw on our door telling us that our lawn is 3 feet tall, or we have vehicles parked in our yard we have to get rid of. Give and take. Obviously, there's gonna be some growing pains as we educate people to follow in the laws. Same thing with Carrie and her team as they amend the land use bylaws. We are finding in many cases in this community, now combined, there is a lot of non-compliance in a number of areas, whether that be planning, community standards, land use, all those things. It's going to be a learning curve as people are asked and educated to come into compliance. So it's a process. The staff here have done a very good job of being fair and delicate with that. But at the same time, if I'm going to take care of my property, I expect you to take care of yours. It affects me, it affects you, it affects our community. So that's their approach to the bylaw enforcement.
And just diving into traffic safety, so I never see officers in my neighborhood. We've heard that many times before, especially on social media. So I launched what we call the STEP program. So the Strategic Traffic Enforcement Program. So we have the map of Diamond Valley. We have it in 7 zones. And within those zones, we have 42 identified enforcement areas. Officers are assigned timeframes to spend in random areas each day. These are the cold areas that generally don't see a lot of issues, but it's the high visibility approach that we're taking. Tying into that, we created on our town website a online reporting tool. So let's just say you have a truck that's flying down your road every morning at 6 a.m. You're gonna give me that information. It's a blue Dodge pickup truck. I'm gonna then have an officer on that road at 6 a.m. intercept that vehicle that's flowing through those stop signs every morning. So we've opened that up as well.
Really cool. Yeah.
So very underutilized. So if you're talking to residents, please let them know to use it. It's and we've had about 5 or 6 entries so far, but it helps us pinpoint our enforcement where it needs to be in a proactive sort of kind of way. Speed sign data, we have these signs in town. They're not my friend. They break constantly, nothing but issues. But we have them, and when they do work, we put that data up on our website on the municipal enforcement page. There's a tab there. So little note here, enforcement effectiveness cannot be measured by revenue. You can write, we do a lot of warnings for our traffic enforcement as we write a lot of tickets. And the government takes their hand of our percentage of the dollar value of the tickets that are written.
Is that as high as 40%, Matt?
60-40. So we get 60, they take 40.
Yeah, they take 40%. Yeah, that's shocking.
So that's next. I'm just gonna make one point on the last one, just because I think it does beg in clarification. So the online traffic concern reporting tool is an excellent tool. But one of the things we found, and for those counselors that were here during the third
Traffic issue.
the large concern of people that were concerned about that, and then unfortunately we saw nobody join our traffic safety committee, was one of the things we found with that concern on third was there are now speed signs there. Municipal enforcement did a number of targeted operations there. Perception versus reality.
Right.
The perception people are speeding, or the perception that nobody's stopping, unfortunately, in some cases, are not always backed up by data. So just as a point of clarification, that traffic reporting tool may not result in a whole bunch of enforcement, but if you believe there's a perception, we will go out and we will see if the data backs that up.
Sure.
Public Works is collaborating with municipal enforcement for, I think, 2 more
I believe so, yeah.
I think it's 2 more signs. Again, the more we can use data to drive this, Another example, because I know it's coming from council, Deculta. A lot of pushback from Deculta on the speed. Yet, the data still does not support there being a big speed problem. Both in the speed signs, as well as the proactive enforcement operations these guys have done, has led to very little data that suggests there's a lot of speed at the top of the hill. So that's just a perception thing. I think that could also go back to my previous thing about perception versus reality. Out there, yeah.
So is the reality then, like on the in Black Diamond, like there isn't that much speeding in the school zone? Is that what you're alluding to? Like,
We're not seeing it. Based on the data, we're not seeing it. So one of the requirements of my team and myself as well is morning school
Yeah.
and afternoon
I see you
school.
guys are.
I want them in the school zones. I want the flag written. With our record management system, our computer in our vehicle, we track all that. I can pull up a report to see how many hours were spent in what school zone and what they got out of that. I couldn't tell you the last time one of my officers got a ticket in the school zone. They may look like they're just sitting there, but we're running radar in our vehicle as well. We're looking for cell phones and it's
Sure. Okay,
the visibility, officer presence does the job.
yeah,
If we're not there, I can guarantee you it's more than likely things are happening. But-
yeah, but isn't that sort of what those signs are for?
It is.
They capture some of that?
So it captures the speed data and the volume of vehicles.
As part of the transparency that, I wanna say it's 7 months or so ago now. So that data is posted on the site now. So if you're curious what the speed data is for third and third.
Yeah.
Or that one speed sign going up the hill and I think one coming down.
Yeah.
You can go onto that website now and these guys try to get it off every month. Again, technology can be difficult.
Yeah, especially when it's cold.
But as much as possible, that data is brought off, and for transparency, it's all put online, so you can see that sometimes it might be a 53 being the median, and then next month it might be that 47 was the median speed, so that data is on there. You'll see the odd, yes, you're gonna see the person, it will tell you what the high end is, so maybe there's one person or two people who went by at 70, but.
Yeah.
What's the website?
The town website, so if you go to the the municipal enforcement section of it, it's all on there.
Thank you.
So to your point, Mayor Kelly, when you talk about the revenue versus cost. So in 2025, 440 tickets were issued within the Diamond Valley. That, again, if all those tickets remain unchanged by the courts, weren't pleaded down, weren't thrown out, or whatever it is, could have been $1,112,502 in provincial fine revenue, with only 60% of that payable to the town. So ticket revenue should not fund the department. That's not the purpose. There are no quotas, there's nothing like that. Enforcement is not designed to be profit generating. Enforcement is designed to be attitude changing. Enforcement is taken when somebody needs to change their driving behavior. The other really big caveat, if you have followed the news, there's a couple other municipalities that are currently going after the government. Matt is currently one of them, and we're escalating some of this. Each ticket is coded when you write that. For us, it's coded to the town of Diamond Valley. That's how we know we get our share. At some point in the process, some of these tickets are being coded as government tickets.
So especially a no insurance ticket, it's $3,000, $2,018. We'll see the ticket proceed through the court and it's coded. When I pull you over, it's automatically coded on the GPS to Diamond Valley. We're seeing as soon as the matter goes to the court, the pay center's changed and it's marked GOA, Government of Alberta. So we're seeing that for a lot of our high value tickets. So part of our administration process, my team, we review every matter that goes to the court to make sure that we're getting paid. And we report it to the government, make them fix their mistakes. But I believe it was Fort McLeod or Willow Creek. It was in the news. They had the same issue recently, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
we're working on it. Some of the things that, when you talk about some of the workload, that is some of the workload. Somebody needs to be going in. And so for 440 tickets, somebody needs to be following those processes through the tickets. But to the last point on here, some of these tickets can take up to 3 years to go through the system in Alberta. So that could be 3 years of delayed revenue. So any forecasting we do as part of our revenue for the municipal enforcement department is by using previous years as a gauge.
Yeah.
You might have a really good year, but that still could take 3 years for that to actually show up. Just like you might have lower years. So it's always a moving bar and stuff like that. And then last but not least, the next slide. just, we wanted to tie on this because I understand council, I think may have had a question recently about the Longview contract. So the Longview contract was renegotiated early in 2025, if I understand correct, end of 2024 for the beginning of 2025. It was previously managed by Black Diamond. And then subsequently asked to be canceled by the previous council when we found out that it was not mutually beneficial for both parties. To say that to say that the town was subsidizing the program is an understatement.
Yeah.
So through the work that Longview did, through the work that Matt and his team did, the relationship was maintained. When there was an opportunity to revisit that, their council and the previous council agreed that it was worth looking at. And what that led to was the agreement that they are getting a 0.5 of an officer. We, as the town, managing the contract, hired one full-time officer. They are paying for the wages, salaries and wages that cover the full-time officer. So essentially, we are getting 0.5 of an officer. They are getting 0.5 of an officer. The advantage where the mutually beneficial part is now is that we are now getting 0.5 of an officer through that contract, through the cost of that contract with them.
Go ahead, Cindy.
What about the cost of the vehicle for that officer?
So I'll save that potentially more for close because I think that may be more appropriate then. We always had the 4 vehicles at the time. So because we had 4 officers before, we were maintaining the same vehicle fleet. So in part of our restructuring recently, which we can speak to, I think more HR in close,
We will.
you'll see the advantages to that more so moving forward, if that makes sense. That's a cryptic way to answer that.
Yeah. Best answered in a closed session at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of it. Unless there's any other questions, there is the strategic plan that was attached to this for consideration.
Yeah, brilliant strategic plan. I love it.
Yeah.
It shows the priorities, shows your KPIs.
They're all aligned to towns.
Excellent. Go ahead, Brendan, and then,
I just want to point something out that's rather obvious in this whole thing, more as like a tip of the cap here, is that we had 4 peace officers between the 2 communities that did just over 600, I believe. And we still have 4, and they're doing more than double the calls,
Yeah.
or double the
case management.
case management. So without saying anything about our previous MEs, these guys and girls are doing an excellent job.
100%.
So I just wanted to recognize that.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Colin.
And me not understanding who's in charge of what. A lot of locals complain about the big trucks.
Yes.
Who would be responsible for setting up those truck stops once in a while to do the commercial vehicle inspections?
So great question. Part of the strategic plan, and we've been doing it already. We have a great relationship with the sheriff's base out of High River. They're actually gonna be coming out later in April to do an in-service on commercial vehicle. That's its own specialty. The guys are gonna need a lot more training for that. Welcome to send them on them if council would like. We're gonna be doing some commercial vehicle checks out here with the logging trucks and stuff like that to help address some of the issues. We do speed measurement on Government Road and on Center Avenue, and we're not seeing a lot of speed from these big rigs.
Yeah.
I would say very small percentage of traffic tickets issued are against commercial
I
vehicle.
wouldn't say I've seen a lot of bad driving, but I've seen a lot of bad vehicles.
So I did spend some time as a commercial vehicle inspector. So I myself, for those who don't know, I was a peace officer for about 7 years.
Okay.
Hence why I fell into this role a little bit more holistically. But I could say, having been specifically a commercial vehicle inspector, I could work full-time here, just as commercial vehicles. We have a lot of traffic that comes through here. A lot of people, I think, underestimate what a vehicle of that size can do and how it often comes down to mechanical defects. But to Matt's point, the sheriff's department in High River, who manages that for the province, have been working to increase staffing in High River. They're bolstering numbers. In fact, both the supervisor and a senior member both live in town. So the relationship's good. They come out frequently. When Matt was doing his strategic enforcement operation a month and a half ago, Alberta sheriffs were involved in that. Again, coming up, they always do a spring commercial vehicle targeted thing. The other good thing with relationship wise, Foothills County has one person commercially vehicle trained. Actually, that's it for the region. But these guys can all call on each other. So I've personally heard these guys where Okotoks has had somebody pulled over for a commercial vehicle and they'll call the Foothills guy. I need some help with this. This is big, bad, glaring. Same thing. These guys have the same relationship. But knowing that it has been something that's been creeping up a bit more and more, we're seeing more and more traffic. That is why Matt started so for example, the in-service training, there's a lot of specialty, even just how to read a logbook, how to identify an appropriately licensed driver. That's the training that they're gonna get for free from the Alberta Sheriffs in the spring. And with that, also recognize some of the big, bad, ugly things and just know when to call us. So
That's where I did go is who's in charge of this vehicle?
they technically have authority, they just don't have the training to recognize but they all have the authority to, under the same traffic.
We're all,
safety.
sheriff's not the same, they have the guns and all a couple more criminal authorities, but, yeah, they're definitely the experts. And we saw a big shift in High River, they lost a lot of their sheriffs to go on these, fugitive apprehension task force teams they created in that, and the border. So High River, Sheriff Detachment has just been rebuilt, so it's a lot of new folks there, so we're all working together now for the better.
Ted, do you have a question, comment?
Compliment, actually. My brother was, retired, he retired our city officer, did a lot of time in highway patrol. On Monday, traveling through Longview.
Oh, no.
He was stopped, he received a warning. He commented that it was very well handled.
Perfect.
You know, not just the fact that he received the warning, but he said that, you know, it was very well handled. When I told him that it was our detachment that was doing it, he was even more complimentary.
Great to hear, thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cindy.
I think the thing I hear the most from people that I talk to is the whole, you know, so-and-so down the road, like bylaw officers driving right by and there's clearly a trailer that's not hooked up to their vehicle or something built in a front lawn that shouldn't be there. And yet the feeling that it's up to them to call the name, but you guys are driving right by it. I guess so it sounds like you guys are being more proactive than you used to be on that. It's just.
That's Pete.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things on that,
Yeah.
is again, a perception, because yes, I've heard that person too. But it also takes time. Those are the files that can take months to manage. Those are the files where you show up and you be like, tomorrow this better be moved now. Those are the ones where, do you know this is a new change with the land use bylaw? Do you know that these are required? What can we do to help you mitigate this? Do you need time to put in? Do you need to go to planning, learn how to put get the permit for the driveway? So, and those are the ones that again, with that not black and white, that although it might be a black and white offense, being reasonable with people too, to try to give them time to be in compliant, especially some of those land use ones like properties that need to take time. You want to be able to demonstrate as much diligence as possible to the courts before you take any enforcement action. I personally give these guys crap sometimes too. It's not that they're ignoring them, it's just there's a lot going on. But I can drive by a car and if I drive by it 3 times, I feel like these guys should have drove by it once. So we are on it. It's just one of those things that with the amount of officers we had 4 pre-amalgamation, technically I have 4 now. Still a big town. We're still serving Longview. It's a lot to see in this town and a lot to get around to. So it's just one of the things of trying to manage priorities as well. So, but if people see it, the easiest way to ensure accountability, if not to say these guys aren't, if you make the complaint, it is tracked from the time you make the complaint to the time these guys resolve it. Matt has to review every file that his officers do. I have to review every file that Matt does. There's layered of accountability there. So anytime I hear people say that nothing was done, but they had reported it, there's always a reason why.
Everything's recorded, as CJ said, telephone calls, it's the world we live in now. 911 dispatch, that's our dispatch, they record the call when you call it in. When we call you, we record on our camera and everything is documented. I haven't heard since we started using dispatch that an officer's never called me back because every step in the way is tracked. So.
If you would, because I'm on Fresk, obviously, on 911, could you just clarify, because there's been some in the community like, man, I called and I did get a response. it's the dispatch doesn't necessarily mean one of our officers are on duty at the time. So can you just walk through that process?
So you're gonna call in your complaint. If they don't answer, to my understanding, because they're taking priority 911 calls. It'll go to an answering message and you'll leave your name and they'll call you back. They're gonna say who you are, give you your name, what the issue is. They're gonna type it in the computer. A dog just bit a 4-year-old. That's a priority. I don't have a peace officer on shift right now. They're gonna tell that person, okay, I'm gonna transfer you to RCMP dispatch immediately. An RCMP officer will take over this file. Or you're complaining about a red truck parked in your neighborhood, looks abandoned, that's not an emergency. Perfect, we'll have an officer call you next time the next available officer will give you a call. They hold that file in their computer queue. As soon as one of my officers books on, that file is sent down to them right away. That officer owns that file, so from the beginning, everything is stamped. So if that file is not addressed, then I follow up with the officer on, okay, you got this complaint about an abandoned vehicle, it's sat in your queue for 3 days. Can you tell me why? So we have that accountability piece that we've never really had before.
Perfect.
And the other really big piece of that, because personally having investigated some of these complaints from the public.
Yeah.
The system's broken, why do we have this new system? 9 times out of 10, I could say that confidently. It's quite often more often than 10 out of 10. The person gets frustrated and doesn't recognize that we will not take anonymous complaints. So if you fail to provide your information, the complaint does not go anywhere. So one, they call, and if they aren't getting picked up in 2 seconds, they hang up. Well, I called and nobody answered. Well, I can guarantee it's a 911 center. They will always answer. Maybe not right away, like Matt said, they might call you back, but it's built in. They are accountable.
It's like going to the emergency room.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened in front of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And to your point, this center is also the 911 center for the entire region. They answer every 911 call. I'm sure it's public knowledge. There's typically only 3 people working. So they also answer to 35 fire departments. They have, I don't know how many peace officers.
Team agency or peace officers, I believe.
They're busy. So,
Yeah. When there's a car accident, how many people call 911 for that one accident,
Yeah.
right? And it just ties everything up.
yeah, so that's often what it is. People just have not gone through the whole process.
Absolutely. And I just wanted that clarified for the public. There's a process. We're pretty tight in following it. And the team at the dispatch center is doing an awesome job.
Yeah,
with it.
they are. With the strategic plan though, so if you guys are happy with it,
Yes.
I guess there'll have to be consideration for next council meeting for it to be a.
Oh, unless council wants any changes, what we would do is we would just bring this back as part of consent.
Yeah.
That way-
So no, it's not, right?
Next week.
And one thing to note with this, when we were putting it together and checking with our regional partners, I believe we're the only agency right now in the region that has one of these in play for a peace officer agency. So
Great job.
we're getting there. We have a path forward, I guess you could say.
Well done. All right, council, any other comments, considerations, questions? All right, thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate your work.
I got one that was kind of like, you think of the shooting that happened the other day in northern BC.
Yeah,
Right? And then everyone like, where were the police? Well, what do you gotta do? Put 20 police officers on at a time for that one?
They were there.
they were there in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they responded so well.
They've
First
been
of all,
able
the
to
dispatcher,
the guns. So
Yeah.
They were there
Yeah.
that fast.
they did a great job.
Perception.
It was, yeah, perception and reality, you know, that's the truth. All right, well, based on our agenda, we need to take a motion to go into close.
Yeah, does that need to dismiss anyone or?
Probably.
No,
Is
they're
everybody
actually
here?
okay, Chair, yeah.
All right.
I'll give you the.
Colin gives me the motion to go to close, team. Let's, all in favor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's